Oh, yo, yo, what is up Tuesday night? Jeremy, how you doing? Quick intro.
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Crazy news. Did not expect the Jalen Waddle trade to drop
Got the graphic ready.
literally today.
Yeah.
I know. And that was shocking to me. I thought, I heard some rumors where they're like, oh, Denver's getting a new weapon. Denver's getting a new weapon. You're like, who could it be? And everyone's kind of hinting AJ Brown potentially. Um, the Waddle one's little bit out of left field. I wasn't realizing who's on the block, but Miami does seem to be doing the full teardown.
We've got the final year of the A-Chan rookie contract. Do you think that move is incoming as well? Or do you think Miami's not going to fully strip down all offensive weapons around their newly signed starting quarterback, Malik Willis?
I mean, I kind of hope so. I
For
kind of
his
hope so,
sake.
just because I
Yeah.
feel bad for both Willis and Achan. But I could see them just like writing it out and saying maybe next year we can retool around that backfield and then figure out the weapons. And we've talked about some wide receiver talent. I think they have the 13th pick, so they'll be in range if they do want to take a new wide
Well,
receiver.
let's not discount Tutu Atwell, Malik Washington,
Oh,
the
okay.
star-studded Greg Dulcich still there. Maybe they'll bring back Darren Waller. He's gonna want to return for sure to this squad. No, yeah, I think they're probably a pretty common mocked wide receiver spot for sure after this move, and then obviously the
Especially
Tyreek
after
Hill
the move,
release.
yeah.
Yeah, definitely. But man, I guess real quick thoughts before we get into. I want to do the intro. I've got an announcement as well that was just posted in the Discord around a little fun March Madness, Dynasty Daddy Madness free entry challenge. We'll take a look at in a second. But real quick, emojis only. Are you stock up, stock down from the perceived situation for, I think let's go Waddle specifically, just when it
Mhm.
was Malik Willis signing there, wide receiver room, obviously Barron after Tyreek Hill leaving, versus going to the Cortland Sutton, Troy Franklin, Marvin Mims wide receiver room. What are your initial thoughts?
Um, I think it's kind of like the same to, if not maybe a little worse. Like I think the offense will be better, but there's
Mm,
more mouths to feed, and then you're also betting on Sean Payton, who typically outside of Drew Brees and Michael Thomas hasn't provided a solid floor for anyone. I mean,
hmm
even like I don't know if Olave overlapped, but I'm just trying to think of wide receivers that really were supported. I know Sean Payton can be a little bit of a struggle to predict. And then you just added to the mix that like Waddle, he was very good his rookie year, but it hasn't really been a huge difference maker in fantasy football. And now the perceived price bump of, oh, now he's in a good team, he's on a good offense. I'm like, I don't know if I'm willing to pay the price of a Waddle, where he kind of always has like the Devonta Smith value, but it's like I don't know if I want to deal with paying for that and still kind of just getting a wide receiver too.
Yeah, it's funny. Sean Payton's the one coach that I would even say this for. With a move like this, when you're trading, now granted, it is obviously a late first, but when you're moving any kind of like high end pick for a receiver, even in you know Waddle's perceived value in the league, I would have 100% confidence that there is a solid role. And Sean Payton's the only coach where I would change that to like 95%, but still, I wouldn't be too afraid of the role for Waddle outside of Cortland Sutton being there for another year. And it might just be kind of a, obviously the Sutton contract stuff for the past couple of years. I think you're kind of, any year now is going to be the last year for Sutton producing for Denver. But what is up, people? Think Waddle and Sutton will
I
help
mean,
each other?
currently,
Yeah, yeah.
currently Waddle is wide receiver 28 behind Devonta Smith, Zay Flowers, T. Higgins, AJ Brown, Luther Burden. I don't really think I changed that.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, to me, I think it is the same because like on the Dolphins, he would have been in a bad offense most likely, but he would have been a crazy target share. It would have been the only guy catching the ball of significant value in that offense would have been Waddle. And now he goes to an offense that spreads the ball out more. We saw Troy Franklin get some. We saw Sutton get some. Um, we saw Bailey get some before they traded him. Like there's so many different mouths that to feed in that type of offense that I don't think the situation is a huge increase. I think if anything, it's probably the biggest faller is the Malik Willis. Like, why did I sign here? And then you just, absolutely tank the entire offense around me.
Yeah.
And then what like tell me what happens when they have the worst record and walk into like an Arch Manning.
Are you
Like
penciling
Malik Willis? I'm just saying, like Malik
Yeah.
Willis is now like, oh crap, I wanted to go here. I got an extra year, got an extension versus going to Arizona or the Jets or something like that. And now it's like, well, I still got to make sure I'm not in last place while my team trades everything around me and has 60% dead cap or something ridiculous like that.
No, I'm definitely penciling a receiver in one of those picks for sure. And maybe it's you love the class. You look at the team and think, let's, move this money. And this is something that, like, I think a lot of people talk about NFL teams not doing enough, where every team every year is like, we are always going to build the greatest roster possible to win the Super Bowl this year. And that's the Jets, bringing in rotating quarterback. Gosh, I feel bad that it's always the Jets example. But yeah, it's dang, it's wild. I'm curious what people's thoughts are in the chat. Let me know real quick your Waddle thoughts while I hit the announcement. Let's go. Shout out to me. Dynasty Daddy Madness. The link is in the Discord to join our free entry March Madness sleeper pool. The winner gets their first 3 buy-ins paid for the Delta Daddy League, which is a startup that will be drafting this offseason. Link in the description if you're not in the Discord. And if you are, the channel is March Madness with a little basketball. Jeremy, is that right?
Yes,
yeah.
It is.
Yeah, click that. Totally free to enter. Fill out your bracket. The games begin the 19th this Thursday. So fill out your brackets before then. 1 entry per person. And that's valued. I know it's 3 $20 entries, but if you win the first three leagues, first 3 years of the league, that's valued around what? It's like a $480 value, right?
Yeah, just win them all. Yeah. Win the bracket and then win the league for 3 years in a row.
What a giveaway. Shout out to us, man. $480 value giveaway here. But no, it'll be fun. March Madness
keeps going up.
And if I win, guys, if I win, Jeremy is paying for my entry, and vice versa. I will pay Jeremy's entry if he wins. So it's no hard feelings if I win, guys. Okay, I'm gonna be in the league too. But let's hit.
Will will be in the league, and then he'll pull up all the trades during the stream. Be like, look at this fleece.
When I win the league by 0.5 points, like the Alpha Daddy League. What is up? Rise Johnson, 10-team Superflex, start 11, 0.5 PPR, 0.5 10 premium. Loveland or Kraft in the 107. 10-team start 11. Ooh. Kraft
half PPR, half tight end premium. 10-team. What is the 7? Is the 7 enough? It's probably Denzel Boston, Amari Cooper.
I feel like the names that whenever we put there, really what we're saying is it's the like uncomfy pick, because we've been penciling in Sadiq there after the combine and like the first round buzz he even had heading into the combine. Oh, we got a blockbuster deer on Charlie. I will be pulling that up. Sorry, my brain's hopping around here. I'm probably going. I'm a big Loveland guy. I've been buying Loveland. I've been pretty aggressively buying Loveland. It's a shallow-ish league. 10 teams start 11, 11 teams start 10. It's not really how that math works, but pretty close. And the 0.5 PPR and the 0.5 tight end premium, like the math that kind of works out to is like you're getting closer to a full point for, the tight ends versus the other positions. And it's whenever you get the like Kraft off the injury, like that deal we talked about last week, I'm not going to pull up the Bijan Neighbors deal, but anytime, anytime,
get your head back in here.
Anytime I can get the injury assurance of just like Kraft is awesome. And, Kraft is awesome. Kittle's awesome. Neighbor is awesome. But anytime I can hedge the injury, I don't really care as much about the age discount, but I think Loveland is awesome. Obviously, no DG Moore there. I'm probably taking the Loveland side. Are you on board? You on the Loveland train with me?
Yeah, I mean, a few things I would think. It's a slightly shallower league. It is start 11, so it's not a 10
Mm.
team start 9. It is a little bit deeper. Um, to me, I think this comes down to, is this a I am upgrading my car, I'm trading in the company car and getting a Porsche, or do I have a Porsche with a trailer park type deal? Because if I need more value, I think the craft and 107 deal is probably the way I would go. If I look at the rest of my team and I'm like, I don't have a ton of picks, I need other startable players, and my team just doesn't fill that out. I think that's a great value. If I'm sitting here and I'm like, well, my wide receiver 4 is Chris Olave or something, then it's like, okay, like I can consolidate this 107, because what's the wide receiver 6 or 7 on my team? If I draft Omar Cooper and he's just sitting there, like what does that do to my team? And it's probably not a lot.
Yeah.
So I do think it's more team specific. In a vacuum, I probably lean Loveland, but
This is something
if it's the 106, I would definitely take the craft side.
I'm gonna do some self therapy here, Jeremy, and I want you to help me out. As somebody who hops on here and gives dynasty trade advice, I've been more active in the Discord. If you're not in there, link in the description, talking through trades with people. Do you think? And if we did this for every single trade question and went through all these possibilities, they would last not 2.5 hours long. It would be like 6 or 7 hours, which we're not able to do as human beings. But do you think sometimes we fall into the trap of the trade itself versus the other possibilities? So if you're trading away Kraft in the 107 for Loveland in this kind of format, are you better off utilizing that 107 elsewhere? Right. If you're, obviously we think about it in the pick in its own right, but keeping Kraft and tacking the 107 on top of, another position in this kind of format to upgrade at running back, in a league that's a 0.5 PPR or something, and really trying to get up to, difference making running back production. I kind of just wanted to call that out just because, like, I think sometimes I get laser focused on how excited I get for like the upgrades in these like not super
like
deep but not super shallow. I just wanted to call that out a little bit, but I'm still going Loveland, even with that considered. I just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good call out. I mean, I do think if I was the craft manager, I would not send that deal most likely, unless if my team is so loaded and I'm like, well, might as well upgrade where I can. Just because I do think I could probably, if I had a Jalen Waddle and stitch the 107 to him, and what can I get from that? And you probably can move up a decent amount, whether it's in the running back or whatever. But you're paying a top price for Loveland, and realistically, is like Kraft could come back without Dobbs, without potentially Wicks, and have a bigger role in the offense. And then you're looking at him like, man, I should have just held on to what I got and also have that extra pick. The more I think about it, the more I'm like, man, I think in more scenarios, I would just stick with the Kraft in the 107 side.
Okay. Beast and healthy. Yeah. I think it's a fair trade because I mean I don't want to treat Kraft like a scrub. Like there is no disrespect to what he was doing pre-injury for sure. I just posted the link to the startup mock. I know it's taken a minute sometimes in the past for us to get these going. So if you guys want to join that link, click there. It'll be interesting to take a look at this post free agency with some massive moves.
That's true.
Jalen Waddle, Kenneth Walker, Rico Dowdle,
Kenneth
Gainwell.
Waddle 110.
The quarterbacks, man. I think it'll be a pretty fascinating. The rookies as well, obviously, all in the pool. Post combine. Happy St. Patty's Day. Fantasy meatball. How we doing? Trading for Loveland is impossible. Plan B is pivot to Laporta. Ooh. I was making sure this was not earlier trade I was looking at. In my Trade Addicts League, I'm offering Pitts for Laporta, equal day on KTC. In the Degenerates League, I'm offering Gadsden. Ooh, Gadsden's an interesting one. I've definitely been buying Loveland.
Trading for Loveland is impossible. Plan B, pivot to Laporta. Can you get Pitts? Can you trade Pitts for Laporta? Like straight up?
After Tua signed there, for sure. I mean, Pitts, like production last year. I think that's kind of these are the kind of deals that I like doing. And I'm not even saying like you're an idiot for like being, or like people are idiots for being high on Pitts or anything. And it's probably a little Lions bias, but I think the like down years that you can tie to injuries, or high production years, just the variance of fantasy football, like those are the one for one trades that are a little uncomfy, but I love doing.
Pitts averaged 9.8 points a game. And that includes a 40-point bomb in the playoffs, right? Like, if you remove that, the most points he scored was week 4 at 15.
I do have an earlier message or 2 messages that I will pull up. But I see we're getting
got a
people.
Happy St. Patty's Day from Meatball.
Got 6 spots left to fill up. Happy St. Patty's Day, everyone. Let's crank these out as well as the messages, and then we'll get the startup going.
Well, are you even in the startup? You change your sleeper name?
I was just gonna watch from the sidelines. No, I'll get in here. You want to be close to me, or do you want me to be far away from you?
I don't know. It's up to you.
No, we'll space it out. We'll space it out. Give us some time to let each other yap. I'm always talking over you, so
that's true. That's probably
all right. Well, what is up? Fantasy football again. I'm in 1 QB. PPR, start 3 wide receiver, 2 flex, dynasty, trade away Drake May, Derrick Henry, Charbonnet, Pierce, and a 27 second and 4th for Caleb Williams, JT, Olave, and a 27 third. Or are these 2 separate deals? No. I see 2 question marks.
Is Pierce? Pierce is Alec Pierce.
Right. That was, yeah, I'm not. Yeah. The Damian Pierce, Kansas City.
I haven't switched it over to Pierce, Alec Pierce yet. I still think Damian.
I had some hope
Pierce.
last year.
Why is everyone talking about Damian Pierce?
I know Diaz had some Damian Pierce hope. I'm still with you. I still think Damian Pierce should be a running back for an NFL team. Maybe not like a 15 carry for the Texans running back, but he should be getting some totes. I wouldn't mind if
he didn't get 15 carries with Woody Marks and Jawar Jordan or whatever. Like it's over.
He's all right. Yeah, I mean, if these trades are combined,
it is one quarterback.
The one quarterback's kind of thrown me for a loop a little bit.
I mean, one quarterback like Drake May, Caleb Williams is basically a wash. Like, there's probably a slight premium for May, but it's like a late second or something like that. And then Derrick Henry. So I think the Derrick Henry, JT, Williams, May kind of cancel out. Because you're upgrading at running back, you downgrade to Henry, you upgrade to quarterback, you downgrade to Caleb Williams. But it's all such a small downgrade, it probably doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. And then it's like Alec Pierce, Charbonnet in a second, and a 4th for Olave in a 27 third. And I think in that situation, given that it's a one quarterback, start 3 wide receivers, 2 flex, I think you just take the Olave over the injured running back, the wide receiver that's never had a significant amount of an offensive workload. And sure, Alec Pierce has gotten better over the years, but let's not act like an amazing contract is going to mean he's going to get any more work than he got last year in the exact same offensive situation. And then a second, a 4th, and a 3rd. Like, don't get me wrong, the second's better, but it's a 1 quarterback league, so you're kind of taking random dart throws at that range anyway. So to me, it's like, let me lock in the guy that could finish wide receiver 1. Or at least a high-end wide receiver 2. In that format, it's going to be much more impactful.
I'm with it. I'm a little dizzy, so I'm gonna nod and say I'm with it. But I agree. My understanding.
I had to bob and weave. There's some shadow boxing there.
Likes the Loveland side on that trade. Nice. Trying to trade away Waddle. Yeah, are you guys trying to move your Waddles off the news? I think the one thing, I think for the most part, I think people are probably net neutral. Like, offensive situation you feel better about, target competition you feel worse about. I think he's probably going to stay in a similar range. But I think the one thing that people don't think to the future about is the week 1 through 3 volatility of his trade value. Where week 1, mm-hmm. if Jalen Waddle goes, 7 for 80 and a score, boom, that's a top 16 wide receiver right there.
The issue is it's just an expensive price tag to already have. You know, if you're in Waddle to begin with, you kind of already bought at that late first price tag, and he's still kind of worth that.
Do you remember
if he goes up, His ceiling's Olave. His ceiling's Olave price.
I
Of
need to
like,
pull up
oh,
the
like he's a guy that we
yeah.
used to care about, but then everyone said was washed and had concussion injuries, and then quietly became a wide receiver 6 this year, and everyone's like, oh wow, like maybe he's back.
I remember I need to look at some of these charts that go back to like the year 1 to 2 value, these dynasty wide receiver hikes. I remember Waddle was like pushing right behind the I'm sure right behind the top tier receivers, like the Chase JJ at
Oh
some
no, it's
point,
like, oh for sure.
doing that
Let's
penguin
see, I can
dance rookie year. Come on. And then Tyreek Hill came and
rookie year Waddle was a
while,
let's
while
just say he was a star.
while you're doing the rookie year Waddle, and we got 3 spots left. I'm gonna click over here real quick to do a little. Actually, let me pull this up on screen. It is pinned. We got 3 spots. We will start up the mock, and we'll still be answering questions. So just because we're mocking doesn't mean we're not yapping. You guys know how it is. So definitely join that. All right, we lost somebody. Never mind. The plug isn't working, Jeremy. I lost somebody. All right, smart here.
Keep it together. Keep it together.
I have 2 mid, 27 first. I've been told I can trade them for either neighbors or the 101.
He was
Dang.
at his peak. At his peak, what do you think Waddle was?
I'm gonna say wide receiver 7. 3.
Wide receiver 3.
Wow, we
Back
love
in the day.
dude. When we talk about dynasty gamers still love wide receivers, that is like if we get anywhere close to that with some of the hype for these guys, dynasty gamers still love wide
I mean,
receivers.
all of those types, all those prototypes always hit. Like the Garrett Wilson. He's wide receiver 12 right now. You know, his all time best rank 3 as well.
Yeah, that's fair. I have to think back to rookie
had
year
Jefferson
production.
and Chase.
Rookie year,
Jefferson
good.
and Chase, and everyone's just
You're
right
Justin
back,
Jefferson. If you're a rookie year receiver and you're good, you're Jamar Chase.
Olave 5.
That was probably rookie year too, because he hasn't climbed that up
rookie year.
even last year. Yeah, that was crazy. Okay, this is a 12 by 10, 0.5 PPR. 2 mid 27 first. I can trade them for either neighbors or the 101. I'm leaving the 101 because I already have Puka, London, T, and Burden, and I'm lighter at running back.
Puka, T, London.
I'm like with both of these moves. It's just a matter of choosing the 101 over neighbors is the only thing where I'm at.
Would you take the 101 over neighbors?
No, that's what I'm saying is I understand with the wide receiver room taking the 101 over neighbors, but it's just a matter of making that decision, if that makes sense. Like I would do both of these in a vacuum. You're two like mid / random 27 firsts. I'd be willing to do that.
Yeah, I'd probably do that. I think both are solid deals. I guess my question would be too is like if you like neighbors more, could you take the neighbors side and then be like, hey, maybe now I don't need the bank on Burden being a hit and I can kind of sell high on the Burden hype. Maybe pick up a relative value running back like a James Cook. And then I kind of fix both of my needs without technically losing some of the value of let me take like if I take the guy that becomes Ashton Jinty and it's like, well, I hope this guy would have had a better situation. I mean, I've seen some mocks of him going to the Titans or something like that. And it's like, do you expect Jeremiah Love first year on the Titans to be incredible? Probably not.
The Giants
like,
is what's spooking me, man.
But and like, is he going to be amazing on that? Like, I don't know. Like, and we just talked about rookie or not rookie, but just a wide receiver love that we see. If you take 2 first-round picks into Neighbors and Neighbors gets injured and is out the whole year, where do you think he's going to fall? Like wide receiver 6? I mean, he's currently wide receiver 4. He's over Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's a walking 20 points per game, no matter what. And people still want Neighbors more. And like the insulation is so high that I'd probably take Neighbors and say, okay, cool, let me try to move Burden into James Cook.
Yeah, I'd be I'm probably leaning that side as well. It's kind of hard to do these like you line up a deal versus something you're working through, but it's the off season. You know, take your time. You don't have to push yourself to get a deal done tonight after the stream, so you can post about it in the Discord. I'd be pretty open to any of these receivers too. Like you talked about Burden for, Cook or something along those lines. Like, hey man, you turn Puka or something into Bijan or Gibbs, and then you bank Neighbors, and your receiving room is Neighbors, London, T, Burden, and you've got Bijan or Gibbs. That's pretty nasty. Appreciate it, guys. It was gonna be a next question. Turning those wide receivers into a running back for sure. Yeah, that's the and it's funny because I just talked about the fear of coming off the injury and like the discount you get, but like it's the same kind of fear I think with a rookie, even a prospect that I love. Like I want to anoint Love into the Bijan Gibbs tier, but let's be real, guys. As much as you like prospects, I am not penciling in Jeremiah Love for Bijan Gibbs production year one. Like that is just you weren't even penciling Gibbs and Bijan for Bijan Gibbs production year one. Like think back to those rookie seasons, So that's the only thing that I think Dynasty rookie hype, the production side of it, year one gets a little bit overinflated in people's minds.
Yeah, and I just think the insulation is already there. Like you already kind of know what the worst outcome for Neighbors is, and it's like him getting injured, right? And we already seen that, so it's like okay, cool. Like if he gets injured again, like he'll fall down to wide receiver 10. But where's wide receiver 10 in dynasties? Where Jeremiah Love currently is.
Mm-hmm.
So I think like you really have to be a Bijan or Gibbs level player, which Jeremiah Love is close. But you got to be a player that gets not only that talent, but lands in a situation like Detroit where everything is clicking. And that's just kind of hard to bet on. That I would probably say, let me trade one of my more speculative players like a T or a Burden and try to use them to get Kyron Williams plus something. Just get some of those more boring names that are going to be putting up the same amount of points that Jeremiah Love most likely will score.
All right. Is it going to be you? Is it going to be you? We will clap. Ken Froggy Dog. Come on. Let's go. All right. I'm not swapping spots because I saw Fantasy Meatball took the 106 spot in the mock draft, kind of like the middle to keep. I do kind of like the middle in terms of there's more flexibility, I think, in terms of moving up and down for your guys. To come up and, close out tiers if we're actually, trading around in the mock. Obviously, not doing that. We're gonna get it started here.
Sound effects.
That's just you. I'm smart. I turned it off for the stream. Don't worry.
Ken Froggy Dog.
Drake May.
Last one in. Instant smash Drake May. You buying the hype?
I like May. I am still a Josh Allen 101 gamer. The quarterback position too. I tend to not care as much about the age discount that you get, and I just believe so much in Josh Allen giving me QB 1 or 2 production week in and week out. All right. Puka Nacua. Let's go. I saw the Puka blurb. You ever get the blurb for the star players pop up? The little different colored, and it's just Puka poised to have another great season. It's like, okay, I thought he got in a car accident or something.
I'll shout out Obi-Wan because that was the one. That was my debate was between Puka or do I just lock up running back and not have to deal with that?
Man, shout out Tricky Trev. Can you believe he handed me this? That's crazy. That is crazy. Jaden Daniels at the 107. I've still got Jaden Daniels at the top end of the first. Not that the 107 is that much further down, but
I thought about taking Daniels as well, but then I was like, I think the only only quarterback where I'm like I have to take in the early top 6 picks is Josh Allen.
Yeah,
because he's the only one that's like constantly just been that good. And then I could see like the Daniels, the May, even Lamar. Like I can see those 3 also being in the conversation. But I think we're kind of entering the era of it's not an automatic quarterback in these super flex leagues right off the bat.
And I'm gonna switch this real quick just to show this is a full point tight end premium. So we see Brock Bowers go at the 111, considered him as well as some of these receivers. But I am a Lamar Jackson should still also be in the first half of the first round believer. Jeremiah Love.
Ooh, Jeremiah Love.
How do you feel when you're doing like startups like this? Do you early on in the draft kind of like if you're taking, I mean, obviously it's different. Wait, let me lock it on the pick here. I did go QB. The QB double tap. I'm a little less comfy with. We got Trey McBride. I get another Jacoby Brissett year. All right,
Bowers believers are strong.
I'm leaning CD or McBride. I think, or Colson Loveland. I'm gonna go McBride. Man, McBride at 32 in the sleeper ADP.
The tight ends are far down there.
I feel like I do have to imagine that a lot of dynasty leagues are not heavy-ish tight end premium. All right, I'm going to hit some of these. I know we had one. All right, this is a quick one. This is one that was sent. Ty Giff, shout out to you. I'm so sorry for, I didn't even have it pulled up. My apologies, Ty Giff. Ty Giff, one of the first messages in, and I know we have a live stream ask as well that we will hit post mock draft. If you're waiting on it, I promise we will hit it right after we review this mock draft. I know you're up, but Tank Dell or a third?
Give me a third.
Yeah. I think it's a similar kind of bet. Like I know we've seen it from Tank Dell, but I think
I just prefer the flexibility. Like they drafted how many guys?
Yeah. Kirk is gone, but yeah, Tank Dell was 2 rookie receivers ago.
Okay, this is interesting. I didn't really expect him to be here, and this is why I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I feel like Jalen Hurts falling this far to the late second round is almost too good to pass up.
Yeah.
I just realized it's third round reversal. So
yeah, we did that convo a little bit. Where are you at third round reversal? I think it's a good conversation to have every offseason. Because I think, honestly, I am in the boat where it should just be voted upon. I don't think there should be a set, this is what's happening. And make sure you guys do the voting before you assign draft picks, that people are allowed to choose their like derby selection.
That is very true. Do the vote and then be like, actually, we're going to flip all the values of all these picks. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I'm not like a truther. I'm also not a hater. I only hate it when I'm like, oh, crap. I was hoping, I was like, maybe this player will come back in 6 picks. And then I'm like, wait a minute, it's a third round reversal.
Mm-hmm. And I think you feel it harder in these mocks when you can't move around the board. So you're like very much stuck in the waiting for whoever falls. All right, Herbert at the 3-1, Mahomes at the 3-2. The Justin Fields, we didn't talk about it much. Do you think the Justin Fields trade, are you worried a little bit about Mahomes' start to the next season as I am on the clock?
I think I am a little, but I'm not concerned significantly. I think if anything, Hurts or Fields will just be more of a packet gadgety guy.
Yeah.
That they utilize. I'm not concerned. I mean, my expectations, I guess, coming into the year were Mahomes would miss like 4 games.
All right, full point 10 and premium. We're doing the Alpha Daddy.
Whenever I watch Will do a draft, he's always double tapping tight ends early.
I like to get a little weird in these, except the one time I remember one of the first startups we did last offseason. I started like Genty Bijan, and then I just proceeded to draft the worst team ever. I got like worried about quarterback, so I was just, my wide receiver 1 was like, oof. Wide receiver 2 is Darnell Mooney. That's all you need to know.
I drafted the worst team.
Ooh, this is interesting. Using March Madness to determine draft slot order. That is a good idea. I used to do we did a derby once. A derby. Like a, what's it called? Go-kart race. To determine a draft order.
I was about to say, I was like Kentucky Derby, maybe? Like,
we did a home run derby to determine the draft order. All right. I have a great team with Caleb, Lamar, Hampton, Neighbors, and JSN with 5 picks in 26 and 27 combined, but I am a cheapo and don't like trading my picks. What should I do? I mean, if you have a great team, I think there's nothing wrong with holding out of that flexibility. We talk about pushing picks down the line too, like trading out of late 26 first for random 27s, and just like keeping your flexibility going, especially if you have a great team.
Yeah, I mean, I think too, like, you don't have to make that decision right now. It could be like, oh, week 8 and Hampton's injured. Okay, let me use all these picks I've been stockpiling and go address that.
Yeah.
Just because you have a super team on Dynasty Daddy doesn't mean you're going to win, unfortunately. So, especially if you have a super team in March. So, I think just keeping the flexibility is going to be very valuable for that type of team.
All right, talk to me, Jeremy. Where are we at? Puka,
I think
Hurts,
I need a
start.
running back, and a name is really jumping out to me. Number 49 rank, Jenner Coleman.
Yes. I can't believe he's
Gotta
still on
take
the
him.
board.
Now I'm going James
Yeah.
Cook. I mean, last year my worst take was James Cook sell. He won't do anything, and it turns out no, he's just so important to that offense. So I'm not doubting the James Cook, especially with the offensive coordinator Joe Brady being promoted. I don't think the offense will look super different, even though they lost their head coach. Their defense might look different, but I imagine the offense will be similar.
Yeah, and the Bills, like for the past couple of seasons, as much as I love Josh Allen, and for fantasy purposes, love Josh Allen, don't get me wrong. But as far as like pass rate over expectation for a team that has a quarterback like Josh Allen, the Bills are not that. Like they are very much a run heavy team. And they're good at it. Like it makes sense. What do you think? I wanted to ask this a little bit earlier, but I think it's a fine point to ask. What do you think, considering all the free agency moves, some of the rookie potential, what is going to be your, wow, I can't believe that guy went this high pick, if you had to guess?
This high.
Because you've got, I think, like the juicy names that are probably going to be,
I think
I don't think we're going to, yeah, we'll probably go, I'll probably cut a couple bench spots. We'll probably go like 12 or 13 deep. So probably 12 rounds deep.
this draft so far, I would say Justin Jefferson still being in the first round over Neighbors, Amon-Ra, CD is a little bit surprising. Like I think that's probably one of like, okay, the Kyler signing, we're starting to feel a little bit better about the situation than McCarthy. I think players to watch are going to be like A-Chain. I think people are going to start souring on what looks like we're already packing it in dead cap year. Um, I think that's probably a big faller when looking at everything. I don't expect much change from like Waddle. Sutton's probably a faller in my opinion, even though
Yeah.
he'd be cheap to begin with.
I it's a mock draft. I almost stopped myself from like calling out names that I think are like pretty bad in sleeper ADP. Who cares? It is my job to be communicating, whatever things we're looking at. Ooh, Carnell Tate at the 4-3, right after Pickens, over Lemon, Rice, Garrett Wilson. Okay. AJ Brown, Lad. All right. I think that's pretty. Well, this is probably where he'll go. I think Kenneth Walker will be interesting. Obviously, you have to scroll down. He's behind RJ Harvey and Judkins and Jacobs and Kyron on the running back sheet, but I imagine he'll be going pretty soon here.
This is tough.
Oh yeah, you're on the clock.
I don't like anyone in this range really. Oh, what am I doing?
Puka Hurts.
Okay, I'm just going Bucky. I
Bucky,
lock
ooh.
in my running backs. I know Bucky is someone that people are a little bit down on.
Yeah.
Kenneth Gainwell signing, Sean Tucker's back. Where are they going to use him? All I know, new offensive coordinator did say he might be Bijan Robinson. So maybe I can trade him to a tricky trip for Malik Neighbors.
There you go. Yeah. No, the Bucky Irving terrible pick. Here's what I'll say as a Bucky lover. The Kenneth Gainwell is spooky. You get the Sean Tucker. The Sean Tucker, like if the backfield is similar to last year and it's Bucky instead of Rashad White, I am slightly spooked, but I want people to remember back during the time of the weirdness around the Bucky shoulder injury. It seemed like it was more than just the injury, that there was some, I don't even know specifically, but it seemed like there was more to that injury than just, is he able to play through it? It seems like there was some mental stuff the team was kind of working and supporting him through. And Bucky's awesome, man. If he can just reclaim some of that goal line role, Bucky is just way too good.
I mean, and here is my thought process too. Is looking at the top wide receivers on the board. I think there's a big tier of these kind of wide receiver 2 guys. I'm like, me taking a Garrett Wilson, Ladd, Tyson Tate, Lemon, Rashid Rice, AJ Brown, Igbuka. Like I'm like, all these guys are kind of the same in terms of what the outcome is. So I'm not getting any sort of edge. Tight end is similar, right? There's probably 5 or so tight ends where I'm like, they're all in this kind of bucket of they're going to be meaningful, but I missed out on the Loveland and the McBride high upside tight end.
Yeah, you did.
And then quarterback already got hurt. So I'm not going to take another quarterback for a minute. So it was like running back, and all the other ones there are like these older guys. Whereas I think Bucky gives me the biggest window to maneuver my team. Whether this is a team that's like, okay, more of a middle team, rebuild, I have that option. Bucky's still a player that everyone has some sort of interest in, even if they believe Kenneth Gainwell is a threat, which he may be, but
yeah,
I'm not super concerned about Gainwell. Like if Gainwell is so bad that it's going to impact Bucky, then Bucky shouldn't have had the first year he ever had. So I imagine the injury and things like that were the biggest factors for the Bucky situation.
And even in the Bucky breakout that we saw, the tail end of the rookie season, like Rashad White was still involved in some capacity. Like he is still going to have.
I mean, Gainwell can totally thrive, and Bucky can thrive. I think I hope Sean Tucker probably doesn't steal all the goal line touches like he did towards the end of the year, but. Again, I think that's an offense that is usually pretty good. So I'm going to take a piece in that offense.
I don't like doing these like flashbacks to the both receiving backs. My thing is I've been opening my third eye recently, and
where's this going?
So, like there are 1 or 2 running backs like Jahmyr Gibbs. And maybe we'll see if it's the same case for Bijan, because obviously Algier was taking a decent part of the like running backs just don't get the like Saquon Barkley for the Giants workload, the LaDainian Tomlinson, Le'Veon Bell workload that we've seen in the past. Like that is just not the mold. And I'm on the clock here. I'll get back to that. Took Rashid Rice. I'm definitely higher on Rice than I know he's been a pretty popular faller. Jonah Coleman's still on the board. All right, I do have Lamar. QB.
That ADP is crazy.
It is insane. I just don't. Someone must be a big Huskies fan or something that sets up the rookie ADPs. I got Denzel Boston up here. Shout out Denzel Boston. All right, got my 2 tight ends. My boy. Breece Hall on the board. All right, I am going to go.
It's a full circle moment.
There's a lot of names. Honestly, okay, this is kind of tough. 20 seconds on the clock. There's some juicy running backs, but I do think that there's a handful of names, and I'm seeing a lot of green on the other side of the board. So I'm going to go T. Higgins and Rice after starting no wide receivers through the first 3 rounds, and hope to get a running back to solidify the core on the turn back. Kind of reading. Yeah, there's a lot of green over here, right?
Yeah.
All right, I want to call out these. Okay, Kyle wanted me to acknowledge him. Dart over Caleb.
Hi, Kyle.
Question mark. I would probably take Caleb, but I don't want to disrespect Dart, man. I know there's some weirdness around the injury, but like, dude, if you look at some of the Jackson Dart just overall production and advanced metrics, he kind of was balling last year. QB 14 and 14 games played. The rushing was insane. Like, look at some of these game lines. 10 for 54, 7 for 55, 13 for 58, 8 for 56, 6 for 66. Like, this was like Jaden Daniels' rookie year rushing numbers. Granted, I know that's one of the things people are worried about in terms of the concussions and injuries, but
yeah, the issue is he doesn't protect himself.
Harbaugh will teach you that. All right, Hannon at the 5.6. Full point 10 and premium.
Yeah, I was curious when some of the tight ends would start coming off the board. Part of the reason I took the Bucky pick was I was like, I think a lot of the tight ends will still be available when it gets to my pick.
I considered Breece Obi-Wan. I did. He's just hurt me too many times before. All right, Jonah Coleman time.
Jonah Coleman time. We got to do it.
All right, you got two running backs, Puka and Hurts.
I do. I think I'm going to get a little crazy. Gadsden, baby.
Oh.
I feel like
let him know, Kyle. Let him know.
Daniels.
Charlie Kolar there. No,
Yeah,
I do like Gadsden. I do like Gadsden. I think the like route stuff that people talk about with some of these tight ends, like obviously it's been a big talking point with Kincaid specifically, but I think tight ends that do what Gadsden did in the rookie year, like we can say all we want about the role we think they're going to play in offenses. He just is 100% a receiving weapon, and it tied to Justin Herbert, Mike McDaniel there. God help this guy. Oh man, the chat is
cracking me up.
Hey, I'm down.
Chat's flaming me tonight.
I know it's usually me.
Bucky,
I feel like.
But I need to start buying some Bucky and Gadsden. That's what I know.
It's kind of funny because I kind of like these guys too, but you're the one that made the pick, so I don't have to take the heat for
it. Idiot over here.
Nah. Trey McBride, Colson Loveland. Well, you won't worry about what rounds I took him in. Oh, you could have had your favorite player, Marv, too. Dang. There he is, Kenneth Walker. Honestly,
you gotta force me to
in the same way to take Marv. I'd have to remove the player and assign it to your name.
I have to give it my login information to you.
Stroud getting some offensive line help. And then we see Judkins at the 6'3". All right, what's the next pick you're getting roasted for?
Next pick I'm getting roasted for. Can't believe full tight end premium. Got to give me some Laporta.
All right, I think you would have been flamed less for Laporta at the 5'9" there. So since he fell back to you, it's not as bad. Let me know, chat. Should we be roasting Jeremy? I'm down to be on board with you guys.
I feel like some people are much higher on Gadsden than Laporta. So I was like, I think there might be someone that's like, I need to get Gadsden. So that's why I took him earlier. But I don't want to be stuck in a double tight end premium. I don't want to be stuck flexing wide receivers, right? I want as many options with the receiving target tight ends. Because, I mean, Laporta in a double tight end premium is going to be cooking. I mean, he gets 3 catches. That's 6 points.
Yeah, there are receivers that can provide similar production weeks to it's a little bit off because I'm looking in the 3rd round later. I was going to point to like what McMillan did last year, obviously Nico up and down last year. But like what Loveland, like you're talking about, can give you in a full point tight end premium versus the receivers like me taking T Higgins at the 5'4". Like he can match a Nico or a T-Mac.
And I think too, like double tight end premium, you just really feel it. You really feel it when it comes to like
Sadiq.
And that's why like a McBride is going to be an elite difference maker because he just gets double the points for every single catch.
All right. We are start 3 tight ends. We have 1 quarterback. Got Baker here. All right, I'm going to hold off on running back. Man, the two, man. All right, every time I do these mock drafts, I love this middle range of receivers so much, and then I scroll down, and I still love all these names. I think I might...
you just keep scrolling and seeing more names you like.
Quarterback sketches me out a little bit. All right, I'm starting Baker, and then I'm swapping, and I'm taking my boy... Zay Flowers.
Star and swap.
Approximately get the stack with Lamar. I'm a big Zay guy. The wide receiver 7 finish last year is a little bit skewed, just him playing all 17 games. But the like consistency that Zay Flowers provides, the like midweek spike weeks that you can see on DynastyDaddy.com. Like he doesn't hit as many high-end spike weeks.
He's very consistent.
As obviously like the upper tier. But the midweek spike weeks, which is like alongside Trey McBride and Colson Loveland, giving me smash weeks is like pretty nice at the wide receiver 3 spot, especially if one of my wide receivers is a ding dong.
Panthers tight end Kenyon Sneak, according to Dynasty Jake.
Dynasty Jake, we talked about it a little bit. I think you might have, maybe you joined a little bit late last stream when we were talking about the linebacker signings. And whenever I see teams attack defense in free agency that have like these early mid first round picks, in my hands, I'm just going, ooh, that's an opportunity for them to take these like fun tight ends or receivers. And I think the Panthers for sure line up with that. I like Burden. I like the Burden pick. I was considering him. That
Travis Hunter? Travis Hunter?
6'12". I am Bucky. Give me hope. If you're in the chat right now, give me the Travis Hunter hope, because I have abandoned all hope, ye who enter here. All right, Josh Jacobs at the 7-3. Emmanuel Wilson on the move. All right, Baker does come back to me. QB, I do like looking at it in the mock draft. If I don't take Baker, there's a chance I lose Baker, Darnold, Goff, and I'm looking at this kind of the Shuck, Bryce Young, Stafford range is not too spooky. But once you start getting down to like Daniel Jones is, you got Malik Willis down there as well.
You want Tua?
Man, are people really that down on? There's some interesting running backs. You know what? Let's win. Should I win this first year? What do you think?
Go for it.
Man, people hate Kyron just because Corum is like more involved, but
yeah,
the more involved is like
that workload.
Slowly starting to eat the workload of the RB9 last year. But yeah, no.
I thought you were going to say Derrick Henry, RB6 last year.
Yeah, I got a little bit more hope that Kyron off the extension has a couple years. On one of my teams, I got MSG
I don't count against Derrick Henry. He'll be 40 and still putting up top 10 fantasy seasons.
John P, I do have, and I think Jeremy, I think you would say the same thing now that Jacoby Brissett is expected to be the starter for next year, that Marv will give you some weeks. Like, yes, love Trey McBride. Michael Wilson's awesome. Marv is probably not the second coming of CD Lamb, but he is still, if they Jacoby Brissett at the helm, he's going to give you some spike weeks. Just probably more in this 5th round range with like Waddle, JMO, T Higgins than,
I mean,
CD Amon-Ra.
He's like Devonta Smith, Jalen Waddle, expensive wide receiver 2s. You got to watch out for Michael Wilson.
All right, I don't mean to interrupt. And wow, I cannot believe Will's interrupting for a Wandale sighting. But Wandale to 7-6. What do you think?
Wandale.
I like Cam Ward.
Spooked.
Good. I think like great situation for, obviously Dayball bringing him in as well. I mean, Wandale was pretty good last year.
Yeah, I mean, I think he'll be a good option. I mean, they kept Calvin Ridley as well. They might be gearing up for a Jeremiah Love pick. So I could see that being fine. And given the money they gave him, it's not like an Alec Pierce thing where it's like we kind of know what that offense will look like. I don't really know what Wayndale Robinson will look like in that offense, and it could be good.
Bro, CD Lamb in the division rival. Remember a couple years ago when he was like, who's nice? Wandale Robinson.
That's true.
He's nice. I think he's a fun punching bag, but you cannot look at what he did last year. And I don't think you can call it an absolute nuked pick with the money he got in free agency to. No. I like Cam
especially
Ward.
In this range.
Let me know, Murph. What's give me the Wandale hate. I don't want to be the Wandale defender. Ooh, what a run. Javonte Williams. Travis Etienne.
Wanted ETN. Travis Etienne. My bad.
I feel like I have to say it slightly different. And then Kyler at the 7-10. Kyler ahead of Baker. What do you think about that? Would you take Kyler or Baker?
I think that's kind of crazy. I mean, I think I get it because the rushing upside and Baker finished off really poorly.
I would not be surprised if Kyler starts the full season if he outscores Baker. But I think it's a different conversation in terms of like dynasty startup drafts.
Yeah. And that's part of the reason I'm just like, I don't have a conviction on these guys in this range. I'm like, let me just keep kicking the can until I'm like, okay, I'll just take whatever's left. And if it's Kyler, cool. If it's Darnold, if it's Goff, if it's Matthew Stafford, is it Penix? Is it Daniel Jones? Is it Shuck? Like I was
waiting to hear if it's Penix.
I do
I get
have
here.
way too much Penix.
All right, I'm doing this as somebody who wants one of these quarterbacks at my 8-9 pick. I will happily take him. Oh, Darnold auto pick there is brutal, but actually that's probably a reasonable pick. I'm gonna start when I'm done getting spooked by quarterbacks. I'm already kind of spooked.
I'm already kind of spooked.
Yeah. Okay.
You telling me you're not believing in the Shuck?
Oh, I start Chuck. I got AQB starred. Now, granted, the Daniel Jones is a little spooky.
We know you got starred Geno Smith.
I hovered over it. I definitely hovered.
You're writing back. Justin Fields, you know he's going to be the long-term Chief starter.
Oh gosh. You know what, Kyle? I don't talk about my dad a lot on the stream, but my dad was a big when the Lions would play the Packers and like Rodgers would get like dirty hit sacked by Ndamukong Suh, he would be like, "Oh, I hope he dies." I was like, "Geez, Dad, you can't say that. That's like I get he's a Packer. That is like a human being. That is a man." Now, granted, I've grown to hate Aaron Rodgers more over the years, but I have not reached that level of Aaron Rodgers hatred. And he's not a Packer anymore.
That's big. That's big of you to admit.
Thank you. He's just annoying. He's not like my arch nemesis. All right, what's going through your brain?
He hasn't really been good in a while.
You got Puka, and I mean, you're kind of doing what I was talking about when you scroll down these wide receiver names, and you've got DK available in the 8th. Like, yeah, you got Pittman there. You've got Devontae Adams, Terry McLaurin, Alec Pierce.
To me, my strategy is I think I'm just going to end up taking a quarterback. I don't know if I'm going to be able to go basically a round and a half and be comfortable with whatever quarterback options are there. Yeah. Like, I'd be fine with Baker, Goff, Shuck, any of these guys I'd feel fine with. Versus other options where there's probably a bunch of different wide receivers I can talk myself into within that range.
And there we go. Shuck, Shuck. I can't believe Shuck is still on the board. Straight into the Shuck at the 8-3 pick. Justin Fields. Chiefs.
I will say, who has been a quarterback one for the past 3 years and is still on the board? Baker Mayfield.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Jared Goff.
No. Maybe he
my
has.
goat.
Maybe
past,
he has.
How about try past 4 years? My goat, dude. Why do you guys hate Jared Goff? Can somebody can a not? Oh, there he goes. Can a non-Lions fan give me a reasonable anti-Jared Goff? Is it just people believe that the Lions will disappoint the next season or two, and it'll be like, yeah, we're not re-upping Goff. Like we can't win with this guy. I just feel like he's been good enough to.
I think he's too. He's too, like, if you go onto your preferred sports book and look at his rushing over-under yards every game, it's like 1.5.
Dude,
and I think that's why. That is why his people want that rushing floor in Baker, Shuck, Murray, right. Even Darnold. At least run for a little bit.
Yeah.
But Goff is a statue.
No, I cannot push back on that at all. I have a tweet somewhere where I was watching live tweeting a Lions game, as I do with no likes, as I honestly should be getting live tweeting a Lions game. And I think I tweeted, Jared Goff just saw an open field and ran 2 yards for a first down. The Lions are winning the Super Bowl because he just refuses to do that. He would rather take a sack than run for a first down. All right, 8-9 here on. Not gonna lie, that QB run hurt my soul a little bit. Was really hoping to get one of those guys to fall back to me. I was surprised.
Dare I say I called it.
Yeah, you made the right call. Now, honestly, Kyron versus some of these other running backs, I would much rather have Kyron than, RJ Harvey, Woody Marks, insert running back name here. I think I probably am just taking QB. I might just I'm going to try something here. I'm going to go Cam Ward at the 8-9. I am a Ward believer. I do have Lamar. I'm a little bit less spooked about having like a stud producing QB2 when I have a first round QB taken. But I'm going to try something. I'm not going to call it out because I'm going to see if it comes back to me. While I do that, though, Jeremy, how do you mock differently in these startups with no tradings versus in an actual startup when you can move around the board? Like, how are you approaching your like overall philosophy to like attacking the mock?
I'm more open to like not worry about my team needs as much. You know, like if I miss out on a certain run, I don't need to overcompensate
Hmm.
by saying, "Oh, like I have to take a quarterback right now because otherwise I get stuck with Bryce Young." Like I don't sorry Dynasty Jake. Um
Ah,
like to me, I'm like, okay, I will just have to go out and trade for that type of player, whether it's live on the clock or post before the season starts or whatever. I have the flexibility to do that. Whereas in a mock draft, if I did a whole mock draft and didn't really take a second quarterback, I would have some people saying, my man took Bucky and did not take a second quarterback. What's going on?
mhm.
So I think you have a little bit more flexibility on how you want to roster.
Yeah.
And if you miss out on certain runs, you don't have to kind of overcorrect. Whereas you kind of have to do that in a mock draft because this is kind of how it ends.
Yeah,
It would be cool. Maybe this is like a I'm bored and I want to make it type thing. But like if you could take a mock draft that happened and like plug it in and like see what team scored the most points in like a best ball format.
Hmm.
Like if we did like retroactively, just took all our mock
Let-
drafts and be like, well, you're right, Kyle. I'm an idiot.
and that's a beautiful thing about Dynasty is I look back at some of my boards from like drafts and I'm like, bro, that I drafted that guy in this league like earlier this season. I don't even remember that. Like with all the
Yeah.
moves and I love being in leagues that are active enough to do that kind of thing. All right. I was intrigued about Daniel Jones potentially falling back. Got Stafford, Malik Willis. I'm going to take the plunge. I think I starred Stafford. I know it's not going to be a sexy pick here in the 9th round after the Jalen Waddle move, but the contract, I'm going to take
Oh
the QB
boy.
production bet with the hey, I believe in this guy bet for Cam Ward. Obviously, I can't point to production last season, but I'm excited about the outlook for Ward, especially at the 8-9 versus the 5th round where he went in startups last year.
How much higher do you think Willis would have gone if we did this draft yesterday?
Looking at Goff and Baker, it's hard for me to say he would go much higher, but I think, be honest, guys. I feel like I like trying things out in these mocks, so I tend to I took Lamar here, obviously, but I tend to really try to push QB in these mocks just to see how nasty
Lamar
I can get.
falls to you at 109. Like, what are you gonna do?
Right. And Jake with a good question. And I think this is fascinating. And I almost sent a text to Jeremy to say we need to do a video on this. And so instead of sending the text, I'm going to say it out loud right now. I think that this season will be fascinating for startups because of the hype of the 2027 class. I also agree. I am a huge trade back in the startup. And shout out to Big Diaz. I talk about being the humble genius. I don't know these like wide receiver bets. So I will trade back and I'll take Chris Godwin instead of Christian Watson. And I'll tack on a first by moving a second, whatever. Like that's a random trade, but you get what I'm saying. And I think that there will be multiple teams in the startups this offseason that in their mind will be, I'm going to be the 1-year punt that smashes this awesome 2027 class. And that changes the dynamic of the league for the first year. Obviously, you're losing like 3 or 4 teams competing, like bang, easy playoff spot. I think it's going to be really interesting. And it's going to be kind of that like the first team to tank thing too, where who is actually going to be getting that Jeremiah Smith. Stowers, 9-7.
People do want him. I'm curious too with the Arch Manning conversation as well. Like,
yeah,
2026, we might have been 1 year too early, but the rushing upside of Arch Manning, like, it might be kind of a like it was 2 years ago with Caleb Williams and Marv, and you're just like, yeah, I'll take any of them. Like both of them are locked in 1 and 2. Oh yeah,
Neighbors. Obviously Neighbors, Marv, Jane Daniels, Caleb, Drake May, like insane. How do you feel about the Stowers pick at 9-7?
I like it. I like Stowers a lot. I think he has a really good profile.
I think in this
his
range,
landing spot will be interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think he's a great value in double tight end premium.
There's Alec Pierce. All right, Jeremy.
Okay.
Talk to me. You've been holding off on these wide receivers.
Yes, and that's where I'm going to correct my mistakes by taking Torrey Horton. No. I think I got to go wide receiver 1. This is kind of a win now piece, but I think I can always something that in this range I think you could always do is sell these win now pieces to contenders if things go bad.
Yeah.
Like, and I think Mike Evans locked in.
San Fran, Mike Evans.
In San Fran, efficient offense. They're going to utilize him. He may get banged up, but to me, like, Mike Evans could probably outscore every wide receiver in the 5 rounds above him if things go right. Yeah. And the fact that I can get him here, that's like that could turn my season around. Getting a high end wide receiver 2 in the 9th round.
Yeah, the NIL conversation is interesting. I think sometimes it's a little. It is a different game, 100%. But I think sometimes it can be a little overstated with, like, the money is similar in the NFL, and like, yes, we think about the money a lot, but dude, these guys that commit their life to football, like, I'm sure some of these guys love college and would love to stay, but dude, their dreams are to go in the league. And if they're being told, yeah, you're going to go in the top 15, 20 picks of the NFL draft, I mean, for the most part, I'm not too spooked about losing like 3 or 4 prospects. What's up, William? All right, back here. Off the Evans pick, are we going back to the receiver well to finish out the starting lineup?
We are. And little did you know, Jacoby Brissett came in and hyper-targeted Marvin Harrison Jr., right? Wrong. It was Michael Wilson. Wide receiver 1 for the Cardinals.
Dang.
Lock it in.
All right, I want to make sure I'm not missing. I could see Fields stringing together Malik Will's performances, earning another contract. The Justin Fields thing, like, we're approaching 3 strikes you're out with Justin Fields. I know we had like the Baker Renaissance, the Sam Darnold Renaissance, multiple teams. But if you kind of go back through the Justin Fields thing, okay, Bears, coaching staff gets fired. Steelers, I don't think he got a real fair shake with the Steelers. Like, it was kind of the Russell Wilson, a couple games. I think he was like 5-2, Justin Fields, or something like that.
Yeah, 4 like 5-2, 6-2.
Yeah, and then, oh man, sniped on my boy. I was gonna pay some homage to David Montgomery at the 10-9 here, and I got sniped.
Homage.
Dang. All right, I'm gonna have to go back to the drawing board. Sorry, I got distracted on getting sniped on a running back in the 10th round. And there's a chance we get. I mean, some people are saying like 4. If we get a Mahomes pup thing. Now, my thing is, I don't see a universe where Patrick Mahomes is not doing everything he can and fighting to not be on the pup and saying he's trying to get ready for week 1, and then it's week 2 he's playing. But I don't know. All right, Ferg Dog off the board. Now, it is a mock draft. I was kind of doing the filling out your starting lineup thing. I could hit running back here. I don't want to take these rookie shots. But the other names that I would be looking at would be, I think Chuba is an interesting name. I think Chuba and Rico are interesting names. Wide receiver,
Stevenson in there as well.
Stevenson, yep.
J.K. Dobbins. JCM is still available.
Let's Kenneth Gainwell
at the 109. At the 109.
All right, Jeremiah Love. All right, I am gonna hit Chuba off of Team 11 here, having just Jeremiah Love. Fear that I'll get RB sniped on my favorite. Stafford's still on the board too. If you told me that Stafford, Tootin at the 9-10 too. Do you think the Chris Rodriguez buzz that he is understandably plans for the Jaguars backfield after reuniting with his college coach?
I think he'll have a role, but I think it's crazy to think the situation in Washington wasn't a situation he should thrive in. Like, you know, he was all right, but he wasn't phenomenal.
He's just not a. He's just not a pass catcher. Like his running, his advantage.
Yeah, the pass catching is really what it's all about.
Yeah, like if Tootin, honestly, Tootin had a decent stranglehold. Oh, Terry off the board. That was another name I was considering.
Ty Simpson.
And I do kind of see, like, if you look at this team, this is definitely a build thing. Like, look at this team. Bowers, Love. You get Mahomes coming off the injury. Discount. Mekhi Lemon, Igbuka, Sadiq, Burden, Casey, Daniel Jones off the injury. And then you get the rookie quarterback that might be sitting. Like, this is definitely a 1-year punt, but I can't trade around in the startup kind of thing. Which, honestly, for a startup mock, when you're not able to trade back, these like young teams usually look terrible, right? Because it's usually like you're foregoing a good looking team to just be young. But I think as far as what you're able to do, I think that's totally
I think
solid.
picking up value in injured players as well, with like a Daniel Jones, with a Mahomes, is solid because you're also kind of targeting certain value gaps.
Yeah. I just don't think Stafford.
There we go. Penix, my most rostered quarterback.
I just don't think Stafford should be on the board at the 11-4. And it gives me some flexibility too. Like Malik Willis, there's a very real possibility we get
homage.
Yeah.
Your Lions.
For sure. But there's a real possibility that you get a rookie wide receiver people love to the Dolphins and a free agency signing or something that excites people enough. He gives you some QB1 weeks and I can move them. DK Dobbins. Yo, what's up? We talked about it a little bit. Actually a decent amount at the start of the stream. How far up does Waddle move? We kind of kept Waddle in a similar situation, and we kind of balanced out the better offensive situation with the increased target competition. But obviously, I think you're a little bit more excited about, playing with Bo Nix than playing with Malik Willis.
Yeah, now I'll just add, currently on Dynasty Daddy, Waddle is wide receiver 28. The wide receivers above him are Devonta Smith, Zay Flowers, T. Higgins, A.J. Brown, Luther Burden. I could see him maybe jumping like a Devonta Smith, but I don't expect there to be a ton of movement.
Mm-hmm.
What to do?
George Kittle. Do you see the Njoku visiting with the Ravens?
I did see that. That's an interesting. That would be a good spot. I saw some mock drafts having Sadiq to Baltimore, but I imagine they do need to figure out what's going on there. And speaking of figuring out what's going on there, Stevenson, lock it in.
You got the Pats RB1
what's going on
11th round.
But that playoff run, I'm enticed. If they trust him, and he's good in pass protection, and he looked like the better back in the playoffs.
Yeah, things can change, but I do. Oh, Parker Washington 11-10. I think that's a good pick.
Those were my two in the queue. I was like Stevenson or Washington.
I think sometimes people view like rookie projection as like this like linear line of like, remember everyone had this player valued here. He didn't reach those outcomes, but come on, he was a rookie, so like we're gonna be on that trajectory. Jacoby Brissett, 11-11, kind of a similar Stafford kind of bet.
I mean, Stafford was quarterback 3 though.
True.
I do think Jacoby was W pick. We got to gas roll up.
Isaiah
Where's
Likely.
Juwan Jennings?
Wait,
where are you feeling Juwan Jennings?
I just needed to pull up the puffiest of puff pieces. Isaiah Likely expected to be featured piece in Giants offense. And like
That is what you send when you're trying to trade him for a first.
I mean, 12-1 and a full point set of premium after that contract like that, he probably should be going closer to where Stowers went, honestly. Like I probably should have. Honestly, I kind of removed tight end off of my board in my brain. But in terms of like trade value, I think looking back, I probably should have considered him in these like Chuba, Stafford pick range, 100%. Ooh, the Mike Washington Jr. pick.
Let's get a little bit of depth by potentially getting the new target hog for the New England Patriots.
Hey, I like that. Good pick. All right, you think
if the AJ Brown stuff falls through, I mean,
we didn't talk about it, but the other wide receiver signing, which is not as exciting as the Jalen Waddle trade, was Hollywood Brown to the Eagles.
oh, I was about to say Darnell Mooney, but yeah, Hollywood Brown.
Yeah, we didn't talk about Darnell Mooney. I don't think I have it in my heart to keep talking about Darnell Mooney, but yeah, the Hollywood Brown and the Dallas Goedert returning too. I think those are both indications because the Goddard thing was kind of the little Woj where what's going on here?
Yeah,
where they pushed back his like expected like the date that they were going to confirm like if they were going to bring him back, and so they bring Goddard back for 1 year, and then they bring in Hollywood Brown. I think it's a little bit the writing's on the wall a little bit, which honestly the writing's been on the wall since week 7. Yeah.
What's going on in Utah?
I like the Rico pick at the 12-5. Good pick. Good pick. Adam Randall pre-draft great receiving back, but I'm pretty biased. Yeah, the I try to like some of the production stuff too, where I like point to the receiving parts, and these are not good comps, but I don't know. All of the backs, I feel like in the past classes that I pointed to, like me loving the receiving work has not gone super well. And Dylan Laube is not a name that should be invoked in talking about Adam Randall, but I just can't stop myself from bringing it up of like a receiving profile I liked. That one's very different though, 100%.
I mean, it's like a Will Shipley. It's like I mean, even Gainwell. It's like he's like a little gimmicky receiving back, and then we saw what happens when an offense really does lean on him.
Yeah.
And that might have been a lot of just Rodgers.
And it's too like the obviously draft capital is massive, but I think pairing the receiving back with the landing spot is huge, because I mean, like imagine if like Xavier Scott, right? You know, remember the London game? What if like the Vikings were like, this is our receiving back, Jordan Mason and Xavier Scott, like Aaron Jones was, you know, whatever, he gets released and they're like, yeah, this is what we're rolling with. Like that is the weirdest example of like an opportunity that I can cling to, but I think it is something that is a little bit under discussed in terms of like rookie prospect season, where
yeah, you really hope the receiving back starts off like that, but then slowly fleshes out into a more full role, kind of like Kenneth Gainwell. Otherwise, you end up with the Xavier Scott types.
Dang, this is are we going full circle on? This is like a full circle LAN with Diaz bringing him up.
I forgot who was it. Who was it that was like, you gotta watch Land Larson?
It might have been Diaz, honestly, heading into Josh Downs to the 12-8. We get the Michael Pittman shipped away, but the Alec Pierce extension. All right, I am on the clock here. I saw my last flex spot.
Believers. Shouts to William.
All right, on the board here. All right, nobody saw me star Antonio Williams. Everyone be cool about it. Mason Taylor.
I guess you are sharing your screen, so
right,
people can literally screen sight view.
Yeah. All right, as far as starting QBs go,
I'm just over here like toggling people. I'm like, ooh.
All right, the running backs. I'm trying to make sure I'm not missing any names. Like Kenneth Gainwell's interesting, Pollard, but I don't think I'm missing any like, oh my gosh, this guy's on the board like I felt about Chuba. All right. We're going to do the Godwin post Evans leaving. I still think it's going to be pretty I think Jalen McMillan's going to be more involved than people want, but I think Godwin was pretty underrated towards the tail end of the season coming off the injury. I mean, 7 for 108 and a tud.
Upside bet.
Obviously dealing with the injuries last season. In a pretty down year for the Bucs overall too. Like I think that's another thing. Like people point to like a down year for Baker and then don't tie it to like what happened to Ibuka down the stretch and Godwin. And there we go. Joe McMillan, 12-12.
I do maybe want to retract my Gadsden pick. I just learned Jonnu Smith was released.
Oh, dang.
So we could have the Jonnu Smith reunion.
You get the. I honestly, my Jonnu Smith thing is, I think that was just out of necessity for what Tua and that offense could actually do. I don't know if that was
that offensive line was so bad,
Yeah.
and then it was just Tua. I have 2 seconds to throw.
Oh, dude, come on, Bucky. That's crazy. That is crazy.
Is Antonio Williams in the DIY humble genius
no.
scores?
No.
Is that you just
Antonio Williams has been
where's
removed.
the love for Antonio Williams?
Antonio Williams has been removed from the humble genius prospect score system because the humble and genius part like do not work together well with him, because it is 100% like a take bro thing. You ever have like take bro players where
you're just like, his name looks cool?
not exactly what I'm pointing to. And it's funny too, because every time I talk about Antonio Williams, I keep having to add different, like, it is true that he is very much going to be typecast into a slot role. Like, he is going to get Josh Downs. Wait, for real? Oh, that's sick. Dude, I love Antonio Williams. He is getting typecast as a slot 100% at his size, and definitely what he did last season. But the previous season before the injury, like, dude, he can fly, man. He can fly and he can jump. Check out the combine vert. This dude is a baller. He can play on the outside. Now, will a team let Antonio Williams play on the outside? Probably not. But what if they do? But I didn't even get to pick him, so I'm gonna stop talking about him. All right, running back. I'm rolling with Chuba and Kyron right now. Are there any names that are interesting to me? I don't know if I want to take some of these bets. All right, we got 18 seconds. Surratt and Chris Bell. Oh, any cokeheads in the chat?
Where's Dynasty Jake when you need him?
All right. We're taking Kenny Gainwell.
Kenny Gainwell. So you do think my Bucky Irving pick was trash?
All right, at the 13-4, and it's a little bit of a roster construction pick in a startup mock where I can not trade or move or utilize the waiver wire. I feel a little bit better about my fake team when I have a back who signed a 2-year deal and is taking over Rachaad White role, who literally was catching 5 passes from Rodgers every single game.
We got
Kelsey at the 13-6.
Juwan Jennings, Juwan Jennings, 13 round for you.
That's a great pick.
I know. I was hoping Travis Kelce would fall to me.
There's still some interesting tight ends, though. I think Mason Taylor was a good pick, too. I definitely would have considered him.
As someone that in the second round took Jalen Hurts, let's best ball it up.
I mean,
get the Goddard
full
stack.
point tight end. Like, the tight end, nobody tell people the tight end. Actually, you can tell them if they look at the first 3 rounds, so I look smart. Don't tell them if you look at the rest of my draft, because, oh, man. Okay, this is what the 13-4 pick should have been. I like the Tyler Algier pick.
Tyler Algier, that is a good pick.
Pacheco's still available. Yeah, here's okay, guys.
Come on,
guys. Can we just
have you got a new nickname
before you guys make fun
Sonic
of him?
And
the tag. He okay. So there was the interview. The interviewer asked him, or one of the reporters asked him, like, "Oh, what you want your nickname to be?" And he said something about like Taz, like the Tasmanian Devil. And he's like, "I'll spin, I'll do whatever, I'll jump." It is like the worst setup of all time to ask any professional athlete what their nickname should be. That, like, self-proclaiming nicknames is insane, disgusting.
Has it ever worked? Has there ever been a self-proclaimed nickname that's like, yeah, that's stuck?
There's some, like, if it's a question like, did you have any nicknames either growing up or...
I feel like Playoff P was the one that stuck in the wrong way, because now it's like Playoff Podcast.
Yeah. It definitely can take a turn, but it's a lose.
I'm trying to think of one that's like, someone's like, oh yeah, I'm like this, and everyone's like, oh, that's sick.
The anomaly. I love all the meme nicknames of the NBA is the best with the meme nicknames for sure. Rashad White, 14-1.
Some of the old school nicknames are so sick.
Oh, yeah. There's some good ones in the NBA. Greek Freak, the Joker. All right, I said we weren't going to go 15 rounds, but honestly, we probably should, because this like 12 through 15, or this 12 through 13 we've had is pretty juicy.
I'm ready. I'm itching.
Ken Froggy Dog, did he win the mock with this 12th and 12-1 and 13-12 pick? Chig is another name. A 3-year massive contract with the Commanders. Ertz, I believe, is still returning for another year, right? Is that true?
He's currently a free agent.
I said, yeah. Okay. Free agent, plans
I will
return.
say,
he just said he was going to play next year. That's what it was. Not necessarily Commanders.
Trey McBride, hyper-targeted by Kyler Murray. TJ Hawkinson, tight end.
Basically the same player.
Same thing.
You're getting 11-round discount on the... And this is the thing, too, that happens. And obviously it happens in mocks because you want to pick the players that are exciting. But for how bad Hawk was, if you have a tight end that is getting like 4 to 6 targets a game in a full point tight end premium, that is like a wide receiver too.
And like last year stunk, but everyone, like Justin Jefferson stunk on that offense. And then 2024, he didn't play half the year.
Yeah.
In 2023, he was tight end 4. So there's potential. There's potential. I think that's a reason why a lot of these tight ends in this range fall down into this cluster, because a lot of them, you could see the story. They're either the Goddards, the Kelseys, the old guys that are probably going to do it again if they're healthy, or they're the guys like Likely or, Chig, who are on a new team and it's exciting, or like a Hawkinson where it's like, okay, he's healthy and the situation got better. But again, like with the double tight end premium, it's such a low bar for actually being a flex-worthy player in that type of format.
All right. Chat. Favorite? Wow, great value on that tight end pick, Will. Dalton Schultz, Hunter Henry, or AJ Barner here. I'm taking one of these guys. AJ Barner is probably a better pick for a team that has Loveland and Trey McBride. Just in terms of like the perception on a player. Schultz gets the 1-year extension.
No Gunnar Helm stack.
Dude, I like Gunnar Helm a lot, but I am not gonna lie. I do not love a coach bringing in a former tight end. It does not get me excited. Even though I do think Gunnar Helm is legit. All right, I'm gonna go AJ Barner.
I'll say shouts to my wife. She asked if I can see if you can see these mock drafts on Dynasty Daddy. Fortunately, you can't.
Okay, I was gonna say I didn't think you could, because it's tied to, you can see an active draft, obviously, that is tied to a league that is connected to your account.
If it's tied to a league, you can see it, but if it's not, I think you might be able to. Let me see. Oh,
you're gonna pull it up. Okay, and I will say, while he's looking at that, guys, if you have not, good effort though, team, for sure. If you have not done this is not just like a cue. Oh, that's so cool, guys. Like looking at your live startup draft that's happening and getting to see like ADP values that are tied into Dynasty Daddy with players that get grayed out as your draft is happening is awesome.
Okay, so you can do it.
Oh, let's go.
pull it into Dynasty Daddy and have it filter out the draft if you just put in the sleeper draft ID.
Shout out Becca. No, great. Honestly, great shout out. This is probably the best shout out of all time. You stumped the daddy. Dynasty mommy coming in clutch. I told myself
better than I do.
I wouldn't do that anymore. My bad. All right, Gunnar Helm.
Slap on the wrist.
Elijah Surratt. Justin Fields. Oh man. Chiefs starting quarterback. Oh, I still got the Jets. Or at least in the sleeper thing. All right. Format wise, you know what? I know we got Jeremiah Love going to Tennessee. Everyone's talking about it. For how terrible the Titans were, Tony Pollard was okay last season, right, guys? Can I get a can we get a Tony Pollard was okay last season in the chat? Come on. All right, my bad. Sorry. My bad. Honestly, I've said my bad every time I say it, but this is the first time that Becca has acknowledged the hatred of it. So all right, there we go. There we go. Good job. How do you guys feel about Arroyo? Yeah. I don't know, man. AJ Barner. Oh, Jake Donges. Good pick. Sean, 2-year extension?
I've been sitting on that. I'm like, are people going to scroll that far?
Yeah. The 2-year, $8 million extension, then we get the Gunnar Helm pick. These are good picks. I mean, these tight ends hitting honestly mean way more than like, oh gosh, Henry Ruggs for the 51. That was a jump scare. All right, Braylon Allen. And then I like the wide receiver pick at the end. All right, I'm not gonna lie.
The best
love my
player left on the board.
Oh, yeah.
According to KeepTradeCut, Jalen Coker.
I almost took.
Best player left on the board on Dynasty Daddy is Shadur Sanders.
Honestly, he probably should be off the board. Even though I don't want to take him.
It's kind of the bet. Should we do a draft of a draft between me and you, where we pick like our favorite picks, and then our like least favorite picks or something? Maybe not least favorite. I don't want to put people on blast.
No,
maybe our least favorite of each other's picks.
Nah,
but then
this
pick
is
our
the thing.
Favorite pick.
Nah, Jeremy, you're too no. You're too nice. People want the cold, hard truth. Dynasty is not all about fun. It is about winning, right? And to win, you got to crack a couple eggs. You got to make a couple of people unsubscribe to your YouTube channel because you're being mean to them. You know? Yeah, Becca gets it.
Well, you did that last week for Tricky Trev when you said you fleeced him,
and he's not here. So you don't want Tricky Trev in the chat. No, he's a good guy. He's a good guy, I swear. All right, I'm gonna go my favorite pick, Isaiah Likely at the 12-1, and I'm gonna extend it to just. And I'm sorry if I'm stealing your thunder a little bit if you're looking at this range too, but these like late tight end picks in a full tight end premium, it's not fun and it's not sexy to draft a bench tight end, but in a full point tight end premium, Isaiah Likely hitting honestly means so much more than, Jaden Higgins, some of these rookie wide receivers that people are taking shots on. Massive contract. I like the Likely pick. I like the Chig pick. I like the Juwan pick. I like the Goddard pick. Like a lot of these names, I think are just much more impactful for people's lineups. And then in season matter to people that are like, oh, damn, that guy's scoring a lot more than Michael Pittman. Ooh,
Okay. We said pick one. You don't get to pick 8.
And then I also
for my pick, I would say I think Tyler Algier, and that might be a sleeper ADP casualty. But 13th round, he's probably the lead back from what I can figure out. Unless they go crazy and take Jeremiah Love, but I doubt they will. Algier looks like the guy that's probably going to have a significant workload and be a guy that at least is up in the 10th round ADP-wise in terms of Chuba and Swift. Like, he should be picked in that range.
Yeah. You know what? Fantasy Meatball, I actually we kind of did the same thing where roster construction wise, we probably took picks we probably wouldn't have taken because we were looking at a team that we couldn't, like, this league doesn't exist. Our team exists in the confines of the players that we have drafted. So I think sometimes you can kind of fall into that trap when you're building out your lineup. So I see you go Burrow, Knicks, and you don't touch quarterback for forever. So you see Geno in the 13-7, you're hell yeah, I got a starting quarterback. QB3, let's go. But yeah, I like the chip pick. And honestly, Geno in the 13-7, it's not a bad pick. It's just the values in some of these tight ends is just so good. Dang, someone pay Jeremy for a roster review of my roster and he won't do it. What do you have to say for yourself?
You don't gotta put me on blast.
I have to. I called her Dynasty Mommy earlier.
Oh boy. Yeah, I'll do it on stream. On stream, your next work league, we will pull up the roster and we will do a roster review your office league.
Nice. Give me my medicine, boys. Honestly, to give myself some medicine, my Kenny Gainwell, the 13-4. I mean, I think I time stuffed that pick as I was starting players. Running back wise, I'd rather take the shot on the like opportunity and perception of Algier getting the contract, and then even some of these tight ends, even though I have Trey McBride and Loveland. So I'm gonna call myself, take a little medicine of my own there. Some of these rookie picks are kind of tough, and I ended up kind of foregoing taking shots on rookies just from the perception of like the swap for the player. Like I like Denzel Boston, I like KC, but like when you compare it to like Cam Ward who went 101, I just look at that and I'm like, I don't know if I could take the shot on KC. We didn't talk about the knee scope thing. I don't know if I'm not trying to fully break down the KC combine or pro day news, but Goddard's great value pick.
Oh yeah, let me hear it.
Yeah, but oh my gosh, you guys remember when he took Bucky and then Gadsden?
Put Bucky and Gadsden.
Honestly, though, the pick even, I don't even think you should have gotten fully roasted for this pick. And I'm trying not to draw too much attention to it. No, I'm putting you back in jail. Because Gadsden at the 5.9 versus Likely at the 12.1 is like, that just looks so bad. And like, in terms of, now granted, I think Likely should be pushed up to this 10th round at least. Like getting the contract, like where Ferguson goes at the 10-8.
To me, he's like Kincaid level. Like, yeah, I can see him the 8-9.
For sure.
For me, I wanted to target, like what I got to is in this range. I looked at the guys after, and it's like, do I want to take a Jalen Waddle? And I was like, not really. Do I want to take another quarterback? No. There's like a million decent quarterbacks on the board. I don't want to make that pick. Mm-hmm. And then it was like, okay, I also don't really want to take any of these running backs. I already got Irving and Cook. I feel solid about that core. I don't need to over-invest. And I was like, what's a tight end that could break into the top 4? I was like, Gadsden had a strong breakout towards the end of the year.
He was pushing that
coordinator. That situation could be different. And then even Laporta, I was like, I think people are down on Laporta, but 2 years ago, Laporta would have gone in the second, third round in this type of format.
Yeah.
So that's why I was like, I want to lean into the format here. Maybe people are like, how dare you take him? But like, you tell me Laporta or Brian Thomas Jr., I'm taking Laporta every time in this format.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think the way the draft ended up going, like if you just look at, if we're filtering to the orange, you can kind of see the like perception of tight end ranges, right? Bowers, McBride, Loveland, Warren up in here, these top 3 rounds. And then we get a full round where people don't touch tight ends. And then you get Kraft, Gadsden, Fan, and Laporta Pitts. Somebody takes a Sadiq bet. And then we get a full round and a half until you get Kincaid. And then we're pushing into these like Strange, Stowers, where I think Likely should go. So I think getting the Timu Will tight end room is not the worst thing in the world.
That was what I was going for. I'm the Timu Will.
I wanted the Geno Wilson stack. Hey, I got the Lamar Zay Flowers. You got the Geno Wilson. I love it. I actually do. I don't want to talk about Geno too much, but I kind of like the prospects for Garrett Wilson in terms of a quarterback that can complete a pass. He's not getting Justin Fields and Brady cooked this year. Hopefully not. When you're giving me my roster review,
I forgot about Brady Cook.
Oh yeah. How many more mocks? Yo, what's up, guy? I think we do have some live stream acts. If you guys aren't in the Discord, join. And I think some people are here that weren't here earlier. So I'm clicking over. Join the Discord Dynasty Daddy Madness. Free March Madness sleeper pool. The winner of the pool gets their first 3 buy-ins paid for the Delta Daddy League, which is a Discord community dynasty league that is going to be doing the startup draft this offseason. That is a technically and for legal reasons $60 value, but as we had discussed earlier, upside of $480 value if you win the first 3 years. How about that for a giveaway, right, guys? Join the Discord. And speaking of the Discord,
if you win multiple things, and I will say,
yes,
I do think the mocks this is mock season, so we'll be
Yes.
constantly running mocks.
100%.
We usually do one a show or so, which is every Tuesday.
Yeah, and we'll be we've kind of gone back and forth a little bit between rookie mocks, post combine. We'll get some pro day buzz. I'm sure we'll do as we're kind of creeping towards the NFL draft. We'll get some sportsbook lines for how many receivers are going to go in the first round. We'll start getting the buzz reports for expectations. We'll do some rookie mocks alongside these startup mocks to get to see rookies, free agent signings tied to actual other player values. Dang, $500. Yeah, Diaz gets it. And if you're already in a league, you can still do it. Okay. I don't know if anybody was asking themselves that question, but join. All right. It's a lot more fun if there's a bunch of people in there.
Or it's just me and Will's bracket dueling out
to see which one of us is paying the other person's buy-in for the Delta Daddy League. But if you're not in the Discord, guys, join it. Link in the description. We do these live stream asks. I just realized I got added everyone from your app. I appreciate it. And we're gonna take a look at, and I'm gonna pull it up on stream really quick just to show you what it looks like right here in the Discord. This live stream ask channel, Mr. Sports here posts the Dynasty Daddy link. We're gonna take a look at it right now on the stream. I'm going to pull it up, and while I'm pulling it up, I'm going to make you address this comment. Bucky is in a 3-headed committee, so in round 4, you need guys like Garrett Wilson that have the great Geno Smith throwing to him. I don't know if that actually needs to be addressed, but it was a stall tactic. So
I don't. At first, I was like, "Oh man, I'm getting dogpiled again." Is he in a committee? That's my real question. Like, is it like, I think every backfield has guys. Bijan still had Algier, but I don't think Gainwell or Sean Tucker are even Algier caliber ball handlers. So like, to me, it's like, if Bucky's healthy, he's going to be the guy getting the significant touches. I want to at least shoot for the upside, especially at running back, where we see running backs in that range have more of an impact in WAR than a wide receiver. I do think Garrett Wilson, but like, you see, like, in the second half, I was like, wait, maybe this is on my side, because it's Garrett Wilson with Geno Smith throwing him the ball. And I'm like, yeah, that's the issue. Is like, everyone in this range has something that it's either, it's a 3-headed committee. Oh, he has Geno Smith throwing them the ball. Oh, he's Marvin Harrison Jr., so he's just in his head. Like, everyone has a thing that detracts from these guys being, a 3rd round, a 2nd round type player. So you just kind of have to make a bet that you're comfortable with. And I think worst case with Bucky is he's either injured or he's like a solid 10 to 14 points per game, and I can live with that as a flex running back type player. Versus a wide receiver that's, a dime a dozen.
Yeah.
I'm not saying Garrett Wilson is, but...
Yeah, no, and I think the Bucky thing too is, I think like some of the rushing metric stuff last season is a little bit, I think, skewed with, Tristan Wirfs being injured to start the season, and then you get Bucky coming back from the injury. There was some weird stuff there. He missed some time. It makes sense that him coming back from the injury, that there would be more involvement with, Sean Tucker and Rachaad White too. But I don't know. I'm a Bucky guy. Okay, I get paid to defend Bucky. All right. We got this pulled up here.
I just picked Bucky, so Will would have to defend me. That's why.
Honestly,
that's the confession.
Honestly, good call. All right. This is an interesting one. All right. Get your can you turn on your shallow league blinders for me? Or glasses.
10
I guess
team starts 7.
10 team start 7. Full PPR, no tight end premium, no super flex. Took our advice. I think we talked about going after Gibbs. This team's insane. But the other manager wants Lamb and a 27 first. Are pretty heavy at wide receivers, so I don't think it's a terrible move, but I wanted to get your opinion. Also, now the free agency's over, do you have any other recommendations? Kind of feels like I might just have to sit for right now. Also want to say thanks for your help, all the advice you provide on the channel. Honestly, I probably am trying to, you have the 102, the 103, the 104, the 105. So you already feel heavy at wide receiver with Chase, Puka, CD, T-Mac, Marv. I would want to be using these picks. I mean, honestly, more so than CD in a first to go get Gibbs, I'd rather use Gadsden and a pick or something to try to go after Bowers, McBride, Loveland. I know it's not tight end premium, but if I have all these picks, 2 firsts in 2027, can I just build the greatest roster across the board?
I mean, do you just take like the 105 and take Sadiq and then just say, okay, Gadsden, Sadiq, and Andrews, and like someone should hit and be something versus paying the premium?
Yeah, but I think there's a little bit of diminishing returns. That is a phrase. I'm trying to see if my brain is like connecting it to what I want to communicate. But this team, I would look at this team and say, like, how can you turn some of this excess value into future picks? My guy has 2 27 firsts, 2 seconds. He has his own 28 first. He has a 102, 103, 104, 105. He's going to probably be drafting like Carnell Tate, best landing spot, Mekhi Lemon. To me, I'm fine using some of this value. And even instead of taking the Sadiq Gadsden bet and hoping that one of them can get into the McBride Bowers, like, let me just buy it. I have $50,000 and I'm going into Walmart. Like, let me just buy the super expensive thing, instead of, going on, help me with the analogies. Jeremy, you're so much better with the analogies. I had an analogy set up. Instead of going on to eBay and purchasing a mystery box for $100 each, that could potentially give me the value of $1,000. Let me just buy something that's worth $20,000. I got $50,000. Is that close enough to an analogy?
That was close enough. That was close enough. I mean, I will say, no tight end premium. Tight ends are just going to be very hard,
Jeremy,
to get and be worth that value. So part of me is saying, I am buying something that loses. I'm buying a brand new car. And the second I drive it off the lot,
he's going bar for bar.
The value drops 40%. And to me, I would just say, let me go buy a used car. And that could be the 104, the 105. It's probably the 105 in a 1-quarterback league. It's going to be Love, wide receiver, and then Sadiq. And to me, I'm just saying, okay, cool. Let me get Sadiq. I still have Gadsden and Andrews. I can figure all of that out. I have 2 first-round picks next year. So if mid-season I'm panicking and I have to press, I need the overpay, I need to buy a brand new car that loses 80% of its value, then I will go buy a Loveland if I need it. If Sadiq doesn't hit, if Gadsden regresses. I think what I would do, I do agree that like I don't need all these first-round picks.
Mm.
So either can I just re-roll for a 27, or can I take not CD Lamb, but can I take maybe Marvin Harrison Jr. plus 104 plus something, or like can I do that to bolster my running back room in a meaningful way? Whether that is trading up for a Jordan Love or Jeremiah Love, not Jeremiah. Is it Jeremiah Love?
Yeah.
I'm thinking Jeremiah Smith, Jeremiah Love. Okay. Yeah. It's either trade up for the 101 and get that running back help that way, or saying, hey, can I take the 103 and get player X that can be that stopgap guy for if Ashton GT once again has a slow start.
Yeah.
Like that is what I'm really looking at, because in this league, the only positions that matter are running back, wide receiver, and the ones that have the elite production. So every move I make is, am I getting an elite wide receiver? Am I paying up? But am I paying up at a position that matters? Paying up for Colston Loveland, that's a brand new car, right? Paying up for a position that matters, that is like oceanfront real estate. That thing is going to always hold its value because there's only a limited number of top 10 wide receivers in this type of format that make an impact. And I want to make sure I have locked in running back, wide receiver every single week.
All right, I hear you. I'm not going to go analogy bar for bar, but I have prepped my rebuttal and my response. And I do think this is funny that I'm getting this passionate about a shallow, but I don't think we disagree that often. Like I think we're pretty very often. I will like respond to a question and you'll kind of hit. Yeah. I agree. We're on the same page, and I'm against it. And Chad, I want you guys to let us know who's the winner. No. But listen. I hear what you're saying, and most of the time I agree, especially these non-tight end premiums. But I think this roster is a different case study. This is like totally different than anything. We're looking at a Bijan, Genti, Chase, Puka, CD, T-Mac, and then that tight end room, Gadsden, Mason Taylor, Mark Andrews, all these picks, Justin Herbert, CJ Stroud. And I look at this, and actually before I even get to my point, let's just, for giggles, for poops and gigs, this team that has Bowers has Gibbs, RB2 is sketchy, okay receiver room. Let's take a look at McBride. Okay, this team, solid receiver room, Achane, Cook, Bucky. Okay, that team's pretty solid. No picks, though. No picks. So I think there's some potential there. Let's take a look at Loveland. Terrible running back room. Well, they got ET. Okay, actually not terrible. For this format, might be bad. Terrible receiver room. So I think this team, no picks in 26. I think you could definitely go after Loveland. So I'm gonna use that as my point. I'm gonna click over here. We're gonna go to the league format tool, and I'm not even looking at WAR.
I'm about to say you gotta pull up the WAR.
You let me know what you want me to click on, and I'm going to keep it as basic as possible. I don't know why. Does this mean that there's defensive backs and defenses in this league?
There is yes, and I think that's a funny format of there are DBs and a defense.
All right, I'm gonna pretend I didn't see that. Are we okay? Are we on the? I know we're kind of battling right now. Can we both agree in like
we
shake
both
hands?
agree? We'll know the one DB that is in the league.
Not worried about it.
I hope your Nicky Memori is doing well.
In terms of I am going to fantasy points per game, and I think you would even argue that what we saw from Bowers last year and Loveland, like there's more upside, and obviously, I mean Kittle and Kraft are going to be up there in terms of per game. I would imagine, and I think you would agree, that the projection for Bowers, maybe you won't give me Loveland, that's fine. I would say Loveland, McBride for sure, would be in this 15, 16 PPR points per game that we're seeing. Kittle, Kraft, Bowers, 15 last season. You had McBride 18. I'm not going to bank on that with a touchdown volume. I think 15, 16, whatever. That is equal to, and I'm going to treat it like it's a flex spot, is the way I'm approaching this, because of the way that this format is set up and the way that this roster has so much excess value. And to me, I see that as I am paying up for my flex spot. I get to start Nico at the wide receiver spot. I get to start Neighbors per game at the wide receiver spot, AJ Brown at the wide receiver spot, or at the running back spot, Hampton, Kyron, Jacobs, instead of, can I find one of these names? Probably in this like 10, 12 range. It seems minimal, but that's the difference between, I'm going to give you a decent name because I don't think these are like very fair names. Like James Conner per game, Michael Pittman, Terry McLaurin per game. In such a shallow league, I'm even shifting my brain more to the percentage too of like how much that's impacting your lineup. Like if we're eliminating the defensive positions, starting 7 players, the tight end spot, yeah, it's no tight end premium, but like the percentage of production that you get from that spot, I think gets more amplified, and I want to capitalize on that when I have excess value. Thoughts? And let me know if you want me to look at something else on the league format tool.
Well, you made a convincing argument, and I will give you that.
Yes.
That being said, you got a threaded needle. And now, if you think the bet is Loveland, if you think the bet is whoever, then you can make that bet.
Yeah.
But there's also the reality that Loveland is Sam Laporta year 3, year 2.
Fair.
And you're like, well, like he's not bad, but is he worth 2 first-round picks and Gadsden or whatever the package was? Probably not. Probably not the amount of value that you gave up.
Yeah.
For someone who, like, we love Loveland. Loveland was phenomenal. Was he better than rookie year Sam Laporta? No. Rookie year Sam Laporta was like, oh my God, like Travis Kelce Jr. is here. And that's why, to me, in this type of format, if I'm using my value, it's only going to be at running back, wide receiver. If you look at the WAR chart, you see the 2 lines that are standing above all the other ones, and it's running back and wide receiver. And that's because you have to start so many of them. And then if you even filter, like I filtered between week 9 and week 17 because I know Loveland was kind of started off slow.
Yeah.
Loveland was tight end 5, which is really good. That's a pretty good spot to be in, right? He averaged like 13, 14 points a game. He was overall ranked 48th. So even at tight end 5, it didn't make a difference until you really got to top 3, top 2 range of being that much of a difference maker. And that's just because tight end is a deep position.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm like, either I know I have a Travis Kelce year in the books, like prime Travis Kelce, he's going to destroy, or I'm just going to say, hey, let me take that value and instead invest it in the QB 14 or 15. And that's probably going to return similar value to me. And that to me is like, I'm safer that way. Like that to me makes me feel like, okay, crap. Like I thought I was going to get a running back 5. I got a running back 15.
Yeah.
Well, that's still better than tight end 5 in this type of format.
Yeah.
So like, I think like, it's kind of like the safe investment strategy of like, oh yeah, just like diversify. Like, it's like buying an ETF. It's like, yeah, you'll go up 3% or down 3%, but you're not going to have like the NVIDIA explosion of like, yeah, if you do guess the next NVIDIA, your portfolio will double, but it can also, you also could burn all that value. Whereas if you just buy a running back that's probably between 5 and 15 in your league, you're going to get something meaningful in your format. And in a shallow league like this, that's all I can ask, because everyone outside of your top 10 players, every person on the roster is just like a dart throw. Like, I mean, people are rostering Torrey Horton and they start 7 league. Like I like Torrey Horton, but like, let's not get crazy here. Like a lot of these players don't need to be rostered.
Yeah. The one thing you talked about, the like safe investment side of how you're approaching this trade with like I understand totally. We talk about flexibility all the time with these picks, and not pushing in your eggs into a basket like with the Loveland bet you talked about when looking at the war. I just feel like when I look at this roster, I think you're asking, and guys, I'm getting better at these analogies. All right, I prepped this one mid Jeremy combo there. I feel like you're asking.
I saw him typing.
You're asking Warren Buffett to make sure his investments are safe, in a rich man competition. And it's like, why the hell is Warren Buffett trying to be safe with his investments? Like if I move the 103, the 104, and the 105, I would not do this. But if I move the 103, the 104, and the 105 for, Trey McBride, and Trey McBride gets hurt next year, like, dang it. But man, the upside of the production and the percentage that I talked about that it impacts your lineup, I think I am 100% willing to do with a team like this. Because if I add on 3 more receivers in the Teteroa McMillan, Marvin Harrison Jr. tier, that's awesome. Like if I'm able to do that with all these picks, that is sweet. But I'm not starting them over Jamar Chase, Puka Nacua, CeeDee Lamb. I can only start 7 players. And to me, like the impact that hits for your lineup, I just think is way more impactful. And to kind of interrupt myself and let me know if you want to rebuttal. I think we both have pretty solid points. I think it's definitely an approach, and maybe it's a risk tolerance thing with some flexibility. I think the pick value that this team has with 227 first as well makes me a little bit more inclined. I think I'm probably less inclined to do this if you had a strong 26 class and he like didn't have his own 27 first, didn't have a 28 first, and the picks were barren or dry. I'm probably a little less inclined to do something like that. But I want to click back to the war chart and let you explain it, because I can explain it, but we've all watched Will try to explain something. I add in a couple sentences, a couple jokes that usually end up muddying the waters. I can
explain it.
The war.
I will just have a brief counterpoint.
Yes, of course.
As well, because Isaiah likely is on waivers as well.
Yeah.
So
he does need to be rostered.
I think for me, my strategy would be, I don't want to make my bet in March. I want to just try to I pick up likely, take Sadiq. Worst case, I take all these wide receivers that have dynasty value, and I can trade them for whatever tight end's producing later.
Jeremy, it's a minus 1,000 bet though that Brock Bowers or Trey McBride, or I'm gonna say Loveland, but I know I'm probably getting ahead of myself. I think it's like a minus 1,000 bet that these guys are going to be awesome next year at the tight end spot. That's all I'm saying. But I think your points are fair. See, guys,
I think they're awesome.
We're nice
but
here.
I'm saying how awesome. And a 10-team start 7? I don't know.
All right, let us know. Actually, I don't know if Mr. Sports, shout out to Mr. Sports, put it in the. Actually, was here for. Are you in the chat? I know the team name was there for the startup that we did. Let us know your thoughts going through us at me and Jeremy nicely yelling at each other on our opinions. But I'm gonna minimize this.
The war.
Yes.
Brief?
So I have the war chart up here. I've removed the defensive positions if you want to do your explanation.
Yes.
Wins or replacement player.
So basically, war over, it's like it's against replacement, above replacement, however you like to say it. Basically, what it does is it will take an individual player and compare it to a replacement level at that position for your league, right? So, say for example, in this league, it's a 10-team start 7, right? So each week we start 70 players, but some players, based on your format, are different. So, for example, we were talking tight end. There's 10 teams. You start 1 tight end a week at least, right? So we look at the range of tight ends and say, okay, what is Brock Bowers versus a replacement level tight end? And based on an optimal roster, a replacement tight end for this league would be tight end 11 through tight end 20, right? We assume everyone in a shallow league like this can probably slot in tight end 11 through 20 in their tight end spot. And then what we do with that is we compare every single tight end's production for every single week based on that score for each week. So each week the replacement level changes based on all the players scoring, and each week we say, okay, how did Brock Bowers do this week? How many points did they score? For things like bye weeks, we just put the replacement level in, saying, hey, if you had Brock Bowers, you're able to plug in a replacement level tight end when he's on bye. That kind of helps us map out cross-positionally how players impact your lineup. And that's why if you factor in, we'll have deeper leagues, right? 14 teams start 12. You'll see these lines, they kind of look the same, but the slope is very different, right? Like this one is so narrow. Like outside of the basically top 8, it just becomes straight lines. And then the top 8 at each position really start to curve up. And that's because, well, there's not that many teams. There's not that many starters. So if you really have the Jamar Chase of the year, the Puka Nakuas, like that's how you win this type of league. And that's how shorter, like smaller formats, the variance is so high. Like the advice for a shallow league is just like draft the right guys. Like I hope you got Christian McCaffrey and he didn't get hurt. Like that's kind of the strategy with those. When you get the deeper leagues, then it becomes like, oh, maybe I got a value on Alec Pierce, or I can split Jamar Chase for 2 players, and that makes more sense for this build because I capture different things. But the value of war in fantasy is being able to map players cross-positionally and then also find ranges, right? Because this is historical data. It doesn't mean that Bijan Robinson will do what he did last year, but it does mean that Bijan Robinson, a running back 1 in this format can produce X amount of value. And that's kind of how I like to look at it. Take out the names and just say, I think this player I'm trading for is going to be a tight end 8 or better. And then I look at that range and say, okay, what happens if I beat my own expectations? Be like, okay, awesome. Like he'd be much better. But what happens if he doesn't beat my expectations? Do I get burned by that trade? And that's kind of what we're talking about here. Is Will's like, I think Colston Loveland is tight end 2 next year and is going to provide elite value and is worth trading a little bit over the market for, because I believe that his expectation is going to be so significant in this type of format. And where I'm saying if he's tight end 4 or worse, then he's basically nothing in this type of format.
Yep.
And that's why, to me, I'm like, the bet I want to make is one where it's like, hey, I can bet on RB5, and if I miss it by 10 and he's RB15, he's still a significantly valuable flex player in this type of format. So that's kind of how you can use war. And it's fun to plug in your leagues and do all that stuff. And I will do a little plug. The Dynasty Daddy Patreon is you can use the league infused trade values. So if you don't understand war, it's okay, because the league infused trade values will take war and infuse it with trade values. Whatever ones you select, KeepTradeCut, Dynasty Daddy, whatever is your preferred market that we support. It will infuse war into it. So then it will actually update based on the trends of your league and your settings. So it can kind of help be like, oh, these tight ends are undervalued or they're overvalued. And it's nice to not have to like, I'll peel back the curtains a little bit. Like there's other sites out there that will have, oh, enter in your PPR or whatever. But it's not really like they're just like, oh, I'll just multiply the value of wide receivers by X amount because you added full PPR instead of half PPR or whatever. This actually will factor in everything with an actual metric that helps compare cross positionally.
All players versus points per game.
It's like actually your format, and then instead of like, oh, like we'll just make player X 0.2% more valuable. So I do have some videos as well on this channel about league infused trade values. I don't have one about lore, but I do have stuff in the Discord about that. And I will say there's a good fantasy points article about kind of the process of calculating fantasy war, as well as our friends at DD Fantasy Football, Scott Connor, especially loves to break down the war of all the leagues. If you haven't checked out his new series, he does like I forgot what it's called. It's like roster rescue, I think.
Yeah.
Where he'll literally pull up Dynasty Daddy, and they have their own war tool that utilizes my war calculations as well. But they'll kind of go through how he uses war to roster construct. So if you want more theorizing, I would definitely recommend checking them out as well.
If you want more war, shout out to the United States. If you want more war, that's a bad timing. And shout out to John P. Haven't watched in a while. Glad I'm back. You guys bring in straight fire. I love when we have
good debate.
Slight disagreements too. I love that. That's what's beautiful about Dynasty is
Well, I think that's
two experts.
Not to get like romantic about Dynasty football, but I think that's why it's the best, right? Because like I think fantasy, we're gonna get to more of a point where it's like metrics, bets, like it kind of becomes daily fantasy in a way of like these are the best leverage bets. I just do this, but with Dynasty, there's always different angles, and that's just kind of what makes it so much fun. Because like my team might be here, but I want to have the strategy of building up capital and selling some of these players. And it's harder to like solve the game of Dynasty. It's already hard to solve fantasy football, but then you add the extra wrinkle of Dynasty and it just makes it so much better.
Beautifully said. Beautifully said. Rocky Top, what is up? Tuning in after the WBC final. Too late to drop a link in the live stream channel in the Discord. It is not. We're definitely approaching the tail end of the stream, hitting that 2 to 2.5 hour mark is usually where we'll STP. We're closing up shop, but we will definitely hit a live stream ask if you want to throw one over the ledge there. I see. Actually, I see 2 that came through. So let me pull up this Kai one from a little bit ago. But we'll hit yours.
Yeah, I do think Kai got us one.
Yeah, I'll get these going.
Ooh, we're getting blown up.
Hey, it's I think it's because we're yelling at each other, right? No,
maybe we need more of that. People want the first take. The first takification of the Dynasty Daddy live.
Are you out of your damn mind, Jeremy? I just start doing that when talking about tight end war.
You need to line up and do the just like. Ooh. That's disrespectful, blasphemous.
All right, Puka or May while I'm getting this pulled up. I know you're gonna do the
Puka or May.
You're gonna do the format thing a little bit. What's your QB room look like? But
yeah, I mean, I'll do the boring questions of like, is it super flex? Is it like the scoring?
super flex in a startup? Are you taking Puka or May?
I lean Puka. I think there's more I can probably do with an elite wide receiver. Like I think one thing we've seen is the elite wide receiver label has become a lot more narrow over the past couple seasons. There's the guys that do it, and there's a big bunch of guys that are like Jalen Waddles and, the Devonta Smith type players. So like they're valuable, they're all right. But even like the rookies this year, like Buka and Tet, like they look good, but they don't look Puka good or Jamar Chase good or JSN good. Like those types of players that demand that level of target share are super rare, and they're frankly more rare than a quarterback that scores pretty well. So I think unless the format adds an extra scarcity to the position at quarterback, I'm going to lean Puka just because I think I can do more with that.
I agree. I think too, we saw in the mock draft, and it's hard to do this in the context of a trade versus a startup, but obviously it's the thing we just walked through and looked at. Dude, you can get Stafford QB2, man. You can get Jacoby Brissett QB2. You can get Geno Smith QB2. Like the replacement level for the wide receiver position, it's like really hard to match Puka. It's a lot easier for me to get close to Drake May with cheap QB2s. All right, I'm ready. Another single quarterback, 12 team, start 10, full PPR, 0.510 in premium, 4-point pass touchdown. Getting it pulled up here. Actually, let's do quick trade while I'm getting pulled up. 12 by 10,
Sounds good.
super flex, 10 in premium, start 3 wide receivers. Which side? Tootin, Devonta Smith in the 109, or Justin Jefferson in the 201?
I don't know how low we are on Justin Jefferson, but
JJ.
give me the guy that's been there. Yeah, give me the guy that has shown he
no
can be
201 needed. I'm taking JJ. And I like Smith. I like Tootin. I like the 109. This would need to be a pretty deep league for me to look at the package versus the history of JJ when we're looking at it in the confines of a single season with basically a rookie quarterback who is already getting benched.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks for joining us, Meatball. Great show, and thank you for the mock draft.
Appreciate it. I always love
we have to do more mock drafts. I think it's a good like backdrop conversation piece and gets people engaged.
And too, I think it's like great post free agency. Like value is all so in flux, and I'm even realizing like, man, I need to be like, the format and the tight end stuff we were talking about.
Bucky Irving
exactly.
deals. I need to.
All right, I'm ready for this one, but I want to hit this Mike one. Rebuilding in a 12 by 9 single quarterback, 3 wide receivers, 0.5 PPR. Would you send the 102, the 105, and an early? This is an early 27 first for Neighbors in the 103. Let me do some math here. 105 and an early 27 first for Neighbors. I
mean, 102 and 103 kind of cancel out, right? Tate, Lemon, Tyson, you'd just be like, okay, that's the same. So do you take early 27 and a 105 for Neighbors on a rebuild? I kind of lean no. I think I need more shots on goal in a rebuild. Like, give me the 102, the 105. Let me take both Tyson and, or I guess it would be Sadiq and, like, Tate, and let me just have those guys and hope I hit on one of them. And then if I get the shot on, Jeremiah Smith, that's going to be worth way more in a rebuild. That's probably going to be Jeremiah Smith.
Does this change the formula for you? Because I was just about to ask, how confident do you need to be in that 27 first being early for you to not take the Neighbor side? And does this change the formula for you at all? I have the 27 101 and another 27 early first as well.
I think I don't want to move early 27 yet. Like maybe mid-season, and like say Justin Jefferson or some elite wide receiver gets hurt, and then I can come in and say, hey man, I'm going to bail you out in the best way possible, but I'm just going to take all your injured young players. Like that early 27 is going to have such a market as we get closer. I'm not trying to ruin that yet. I do think Neighbors in the 103 is good, and if the early was more like 104, like if you're like, okay, I know it's not 101, 102, but if you have a chance of ending up with both the 101 and like 102 or 103 in next year's class, I'd rather just let that ride because the hype train is already higher than 2026, and that's just going to get even crazier. I mean, we're going to get to the point where the 101's worth more than Neighbors come next year.
Yeah, the only thing that I would, because I agree with you with most of what you said, and this isn't just, I'm not just doing the Stephen A. Skip Bayless thing right here with a little pushback on the question, but just in the sense of, if you're looking at that 27 first that you would be moving in this deal, and in your mind you're like, this team sucks, They didn't make the playoffs last year. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs again. But you're looking at the roster, and at post-free agency, you're like, yeah, but I have the 101. I already have a tanking team. I'm a tanking team too. Like, if you're eliminating some teams and you're like, this team is going to try to make the playoffs, even though I don't think it's a good team, I could see myself doing this and just saying, it's Malik Neighbors that I'm buying, So worst case scenario, it ends up being an early 27 first, and I move the 105, which I do like, but I love some Malik Neighbors. But still, I still agree with you on what you said on that side. All right, we are ready. Kai, the wait is over. Wait, the wait is almost over. I didn't add in your question. Boom, the wait is over.
The wait is over.
This is a start 10, single quarterback, PPR, 0.5 tight end premium. Any recommendations for this team? Want to improve the RB room, but I don't want to give up any premier guys. Don't we all? I want to get rid of Caleb Williams, but the QB market in my league is bone dry, which we've talked about makes sense in single quarterback league. Also, will Sadiq be in play at the 107, or is it worth trading up to the 104, 106 range with my 28 seconds? Thanks again. I mean, without even answering that question, I'd love to tack on seconds to move up from the 107 to the 104 or the 105. If that's possible, please. I do multiple seconds to secure that I'm getting a very good first round pick. That's a pretty solid team.
Do you try to go? This might be funny. Do you try to take the 107 and like Kyle Pitts or something and just try to pay up for a tight end that way versus taking this Sadiq bet?
Yes. This was the last live stream ask was 30 minutes long, so that this one could be 7 minutes long. No, I think recommendations for the team, the wide receiver room is deep. Neighbors, JJ, Egbuka, Olave, Burden, Terry, Mike Evans. You don't have any 27 picks, just the 4th, and you have a ton of 28 seconds. But obviously, Jaden Daniels, Hampton, Saquon. Do you want to get more flexibility on this team? I mean, I guess you're starting all those receivers, so it's not like you can move off of them. Yeah, I think I'm underestimating.
At first, I was like, "Oh, you should sell," but then I was like, "Oh,
12
man,
by 10,
this is a deeper league, right?
Yeah.
It's a 12-team start 10. We do need starters. I don't feel like you have too many. I would say, hey, what do I want to do? Is maybe not roster like Thornton, McCaffrey, like shift that more to running back value in this type of format, like just a backup running back. Even if it's like Xavier Scott or someone weird might find a role some weeks. So I want to take those bets.
Would you
more
push
than like Adonai Mitchell? But
yeah. Would you, just looking at this team, the 107 pick you're probably going to have, I know the ask here from Kai is, will Sadiq be in play at the 107? If you get Sadiq mid first and like the draft plays out how people have mocked, and it's like Tyson, Lemon, Tate, early Love, through mid, late first, obviously Love, Mendoza, Sadiq is not going to be in play at the 107 if he gets like a good landing spot in the mid first. You're going to be looking at those receivers we talked about at the end of the first, which
it's also one quarterback.
It's true. Yeah, I didn't even factor that in. So I would love to push. Can you push the 107 to 2027? You think that's possible in a single quarterback? I would try to do that with this team.
I would try to do that. Any mid, like any like mid pick. I mean, would you take any? Like if you're like, oh, it's 110, it's probably like 110 at best. First,
well,
you just re-roll.
The great part about this team, this is the number 1 overall rank, number 1 starter team, and this team is pretty sick. And while you don't have the flexibility of like 27 picks, I think doing this kind of move versus taking the rookie bet is kind of what you want to do. Oh, I like this. Oh, I mean, this is awesome. 227 seconds and the 105 for Justin Jefferson. Man, people hate. I got to send out some Justin Jefferson offers. Man, people just forget. You get one like down season from arguably one of the greatest receivers of all time, and it's crazy. Yeah, this is interesting. This makes me think that this might be possible if people are willing and able to move stud players for the 105 and 2 seconds. Like I can probably move this 107 for. Why can't I move the 107 for a future first if I can move the 105 in 2 seconds for Justin Jefferson?
Yeah, I mean, I do think, to me, I would also just really target something. I think it's either can I move up into the top 4, right? No, top 5. Because top 5 would guarantee me a Sadiq. But I wouldn't want to pay a ton, right? Like, I would be like,
And I don't know if I
is
want to
it
do
like a
that though.
second?
Yeah.
But and even that is like a dart throw. Like,
Right.
is Sadiq going to be better than Pitts? I don't know.
And any
Can
of
I
the
take the
receivers.
107?
Like I like Tyson and I'm excited for
Yeah.
these guys, but like, do you think come week 5 you are going to be starting one of those receivers for sure over Olave, Egbuka, JJ, Neighbors, Terry McLaurin, Mike
Maybe a
Evans?
Igbuka.
Like, yeah, and it's a maybe too, and I think you're kind of like eliminating some of your flexibility.
Well, I guess without Evans too, like I think
Right.
Igbuka will have a more consistent role next
Yeah.
year as well.
Yeah, so my advice would be the flexibility, and it's also a little bit of a looking at that running back room where it's Hampton, Saquon, and then Jonathan Brooks, and then I'm not even going to read the rest of the names for obvious reasons. So like having more flexibility in the future where you get to turn, because not everybody wants to take your receiver for their running back, but most teams, not most teams, there's a handful of teams that would at least hear out a 27 first for a running back if that was where you were set up and needed to do. So I would definitely try to push this to a future first if possible.
Yeah, and there's some teams. I mean, even like Joseph, TJ, right, 10th in value, sixth overall. They have like Derrick Henry. There's options, but I would try to see. My strategy would be what do I do with this 107? And the options are: can I staple it to Pitts and go get like a Loveland? Is it do I trade that 107 to just try to bolster my running back room? Whether it's an upgrade on top of Barkley or something, or and my favorite option would be can I just take it and trade it for like a mid-random any 27 first, and then have the flexibility for a whole year in a draft class people like more.
Yeah, and this would be a great shout, James, if Kai wasn't pretty sure that the QB market is pretty bone dry. And I think Jaden Daniels is, I think, high enough where people would hear you out for a tear down or even just a complete move. But the issue when you get into these single quarterback leagues is you look at everyone's team and everyone convinces themselves, like, this is the worst team, okay? I haven't even looked at this. I hate Tony. Jalen Hurts. It's the starting quarterback on the worst team.
You're like,
Bo Nix,
issues like everyone
Baker
is gonna
Mayfield,
be like, oh,
Malik
my QB
Willis,
room sucks, and it's
Brock Purdy, Dak Prescott, Justin Herbert, Tyler Shuck.
You're gonna be fine.
Yeah, Jackson Dart, CJ Stroud. Like all these teams tell themselves, Patrick Mahomes, Trevor Lawrence. Like they're all like, I'd love to have Jaden Daniels. I'm not going to give you a great player on top of something to get that cross positionally because they know that. Geez, oh my gosh, that just got jump scared by that. Never mind, I'm not gonna draw attention to it. Be a good streamer, Will. All right. No, I think we're on the same page there. Cool. I know we had another one. We have you ever accidentally click the wrong screen and now you're looking at the QB free agency market stats screen? Kyler did go to Minnesota.
No,
good shout.
That's never happened to me.
Good pick, Will. Yeah. For sure. QB market is start to end. Yeah, and single quarterback too. Like if it was super flex and you had Jaden Daniels, Caleb Williams, and you were really wanting to improve at other positions, you could look at a tier down for sure. But yeah, definitely tough.
Honestly, in any one QB league, you just have to understand that the value you see on trade calculators is even lower than that because everyone has like 2 or 3 guys.
All right, we got this one here while I'm getting the last live stream ask pulled up, the Buke one, Buke 14. We got you. We draft kickers in our startup to get rookie picks. I accidentally took the 102, didn't see the 101 get pulled. Do I draft 3 QBs now and take the best wide receiver in the rookie draft? So it sounds like it's kind of trying to avoid having to take Mendoza at the 102. Would you alter your strategy in your startup draft to put yourself in a position to do that, or would you not be too concerned with
taking Mendoza, the Superflex?
And not necessarily just taking Mendoza, but just like when you're in the startup, like I more so I'm kind of leading the witness a little bit where I don't necessarily think if you leave the startup with 2 QBs you have to take Mendoza so that you can have the comfy 3 QBs on your roster is kind of what I'm getting at. But let me know
I mean,
your
I
thoughts.
think the way I would play it is be like, okay, cool. Let me see how the rest of the draft goes. And like maybe like we did the mock draft earlier, maybe Baker Mayfield falls really far and you get him in a late round and you're like, okay, well, like I feel fine with Baker and whoever.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Go
then I
Grosser.
don't need to bet on Mendoza.
Stafford.
Yeah, like
Jacoby
even,
Brissett.
yeah,
Yeah.
Stafford and Baker, and I'm like, cool. Like I don't feel like Mendoza is something I need, and then maybe you take like the Cardinal Tate and something like that. I mean, I will say like Mendoza isn't one that you have to lock yourself into. I mean, if we look at the rookie rankings right now on Dynasty Daddy, Mendoza is the 104. On KeepTradeCut, Mendoza is the 102. It's all very close and very fluid. So I don't think there's a huge difference, and I wouldn't be like I have to take Mendoza. I would just kind of see how the draft fizzles out, and if it's you're sitting there and I'm like, oh crap, all I have is Geno Smith and Malik Willis, and yeah, then take Mendoza and live with that.
Already took Herbert and Stroud too. Like that's, I mean, say what you will about Stroud, you're set too. I'll pull this up real quick before we hop over to the live stream ask.
I mean, you can always trade it too.
You can always trade it, and like if you look at like Mendoza right now, this is just Dynasty Daddy. You could look at KeepTradeCut too on the site if you wanted. Like, wow, is this for real? KeepTradeCut QB12 Mendoza over T-Law per D. Sorry, I hadn't looked at that in a minute. I got to start looking at these. I got to keep up to date on these KeepTradeCut rankings so that I don't get jump scared when I'm pulling them up on screen.
Well,
but I mean, right here, Mendoza, like in terms of out of the startup, drafting Mendoza for the comfy QB3, it like feels comfy until Mendoza has the Cam Ward rookie season, and it's Will's talking about, I like Mendoza for year 2 and year 3. But you don't want to start him. You don't want to get, the 13, 15 points in your lineup for the Raiders starting quarterback versus taking Lemon or Tate that get an awesome wide receiver landing spot. And that is so flexible across the board for all teams.
Yeah. I mean, realistically, what you're going to get is you're going to get one of the top 3 guys that lands in the spot that everyone loves.
Oh, I just saw Josh Allen, Drake May, Trevor Lawrence. Let's get this one cooking. Buke 14. This is the final live stream asking, and then Will gets to tinkle. All right. Start 10, Superflex PPR, and this is 12 team start 10.
12 team start 10
PPR.
Superflex PPR.
No 10 in premium. HN owner threw him on the block today. I've been trying to find a way to grab a proven running back since my room is just meh. Yeah, I did. That was my first thought looking at this team. Short on a first this year as I used it last year to bolster my title run. Worth even trying for HN or aim lower. So I'm just going to do a quick snapshot of this team in my mind. Okay. No 26 picks, but you have your own 27s, except for the 4th. And let's take a look at this HN team that threw him on the block. No QBs. I mean, you have, sorry, not no QBs. Jaden Daniels, and then it's like JJ to, they feel a little sketchy about their QB2. HN and nothing else. Puka, DJ Moore, Golden. This team is probably trying to get, they're probably trying to split HN, I'd assume, into like either multiple firsts or a first and a player. That would be my thought process. You do have Josh Allen, Drake May, Trevor Lawrence. The way you would probably have to attack that would be the QB move tier down. Would you do that with this team to try to get HN?
I'd be open to it because you also got Mac Jones, and then you can just kind of load up on depth QBs. I mean, you also have Aaron Rodgers on waivers. So it'd be like, okay, let me sell all the players and pick up Aaron Rodgers as a QB3.
Oh, yeah.
Should be fine there.
I think one of the worst things that people, and one of the main reasons that I push back so hard on the QB3 comfy thing is not just that Will doesn't want to have a third QB that is a starter in the NFL on his roster. It is that when my third QB is Trevor Lawrence, and there are multiple teams in the Superflex League that are like would love to have that quarterback as their Superflex starting quarterback, I'm immediately flipping that. Okay, Geno Smith, you're my new QB3, and Trevor Lawrence, I've been able to turn into, whatever, James Cook or something. And that's more impactful for my roster.
I'm curious. So I don't necessarily want to move my first. I could consider like the 2027 101. I'd also try to just say like, could I do like RJ Harvey in like the 206 and my 27 second? Like, does that get the conversation at least somewhat open? Because I think too, A-Chain is going to be a big faller that we see. Like, he's already dropped decently in value, but as trades and the reactions to the complete Dolphins offensive teardown that we're seeing, I think people are going to be like, I don't know how to feel. Like, he's down 5% on Dynasty Daddy in the past month, and he's down 6% on KeepTradeCut, and that is before factoring in this Waddle trade.
Yeah.
So I do think it could be a thing like it's going to bleed value until he gets either traded or just they have to deal with it. And I think something like 2 second-round picks, Harvey, is at least a conversation piece. I think you probably have to add a little bit more to that. But I think it's close enough that like it's not insulting. Because like I think it's either that or you say, hey, I'll give you like my 27 first, and like I will toss like a random piece that's not super exciting on top of it. I could do like my 27 and Josh Downs or Woody Marks or something like that. Or I can do 2 second-round picks for a team that doesn't have picks and is kind of looking to get out of this A-Chain situation. Which is, like they're sitting here and they're saying, I'm 10th on Dynasty Daddy. I'm 6th in overall value. My team is a little banged up. I just lost JJ McCarthy. I do think your most realistic path is saying, hey, Trevor Lawrence, A-Chain, like what gets this done? I think that's the path I would go. But if they're like kind of stuck on, I'm going more rebuild, I need to split them a little bit more than a 1-for-1 swap. Looking at like hey, here's Harvey, who was a first-round draft pick in rookie drafts last year, plus 2 extra picks, 1 for 27 and 1 for 26. I know they're not first, but this team needs a lot of value and a lot of players that are actually going to start because they're still rolling out the James Conner and 2024 Jerry Jeudy hype clips. So like,
I think this team's being realistic.
I think there's another option there.
This team's being realistic about they're looking at the roster after the Kyler Murray signing and they're like, oof, like Puka's awesome, Achan's awesome, great. DJ Moore got the Bills landing spot, but I have to.
Do you go crazy with it?
Well,
do you go crazy instead? Like, dude, like, hey, could I do Drake May?
That was my starting point.
And I don't know, like RJ Harvey or something, and a second, and can I get like A-Chain and Puka or something? Like,
I think it probably would have to be a first.
If they're going full rebuild, like, can I do May in my 27, and you give me A-Chain and Puka?
Yeah, and then I think I'm comfortable doing that, which usually is not the Dynasty Daddy advice. Is can we stack our own first on top of players to upgrade things? But if you're talking about that kind of move, A-Chain. Drake May, 27 first, RJ Harvey for Achan, Puka. I'm down to do. I think that makes your team turn. Because look, when you do that, where is it? All right, right here. Actually, let's do this so it's at the top. All right, when you do that, these stars get to move away from Aaron Jones and Tyrone Tracy, and you get to. And let me know if you can't start all these players. I assume it's multiple flex spots, right?
Yeah, it should be 2 flex spots, super flex.
Okay.
3 wide receivers.
So you get to start Michael Wilson, Puka, and then A-Chain gets to be one of your running back slots. And then you're not having to start some of these running backs. And you still have Josh Allen, T-Law. And like you said, you can pick up Rodgers.
I think that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, I'm down.
I'm sending May in the first. I'm like, is May Josh Allen? I don't know. He may be, and I may feel bad about that. But I also get Puka and A-Chain.
Yeah, you're not moving. It's not like we're asking you to tear down from potential younger Josh Allen to,
I don't feel bad doing that. Like, I don't feel bad moving my 27 first this early. if I if I make that trade, I guarantee my team basically is going to be a playoff team.
Yeah. And
Like
I think
your team's probably a playoff team now.
yeah. And it's a little bit too of, I mean, we talked about the, war. This is kind of like, it's not really war we're talking about, but in terms of your specific roster, like moves need to be made to turn this, what is an awesome rank team because of like how much value you have at the top of your roster, into a team that week in and week out is actually terrifying. Not just because you have 2 sick quarterbacks and a sick wide receiver room, but because you are smashing at Josh Allen, you're smashing the receiver room, and then you also have, A-Chain and Puka added to this roster. I'm down. All right, let's go. All right, this is a good KTC shout that I need to probably implement more. KTC is crazy. I always use Dynasty Daddy for all my leagues. Probably I price out trades with the Dynasty Daddy values filter, but I can always toggle over to KeepTradeCut to see what my trade partners are looking at. Yeah, would search up and find. Use it at my advantage. Dynasty Daddy use my specific league. Jeremy, is this you on an alt account? Uses my specific.
That's my burner. That's
it's back
the
as
KD
burner.
files have dropped.
He uses my specific league filter for KCT, generic crowdsource. It's crazy Chico. 100%. Yeah. I mean, I used to do it all the time where I would like peek at KTC and I would type like people I know that would reference and utilize it. Typing in those trades outside of just the whole like how many seconds can I tack on to get the value adjustment to equal this trade, but actually looking at, oh, this wide receiver is wide receiver 20, or this rookie quarterback is already wide receiver or quarterback 12. Good stuff. Thanks, guys.
I will always
say, good luck.
I think KeepTradeCut is actually a pretty good metric. The issue I have with KeepTradeCut is the curve, the need that value adjustment. And I get why they do it to some extent, to have all these players have certain values, but you hit troughs where players are all worth 3,000 and all worth 1,000, and it's like that doesn't make sense. It's not it's not 10 Sean Tuckers for Drake May. That doesn't make sense, and that's why you have this value adjustment. But that to me is the most frustrating part. I do think it's awesome that we have a spot that can collect so much data that isn't just trades, because trades, they have certain contexts that also color the trade. Like, how's your team? What's
and like LOL, bro, you got fleeced.
Have like like the KeepTradeCut metric, I think gets crapped on a lot, but I actually think that data point is good at scale. I just think the curve is frustrating to me. And it's also something where it's like it's the sentiment, but it's also not the real value. And that's why I think using both the Dynasty Daddy built on real trades and drafts is valuable, because this kind of like, this is what's actually happening. And then this is kind of where the vibes are. So you can kind of follow the vibes, but then also be like, okay, what's actually happening, and figure out, is this a player that's trending off vibes? And then should I sell them, like a Luther Burden, for example, who might still be someone that's amazing, but he's a pretty high vibe player just based on KeepTradeCut and how people feel about him. Loveland's another one of the guys that get steamed up because of hype. And then you have other ones like Laporta. No one gives a crap about Laporta now, but Laporta is still a valuable player. It's just like how the vibes and hype of him kind of go.
You do have to think about like what is KeepTradeCut in the context of a player is presented, or a Dynasty gamer is presented 3 players. Who do you think they're going to rank above in a KeepTradeCut value of similar players? The player that just that plays for the Devon Achane that just lost Jalen Waddle and has Malik Willis at their quarterback, and coaching staff is different and changing. Like, the perception of that player is going to be shot down versus similar range running backs, even though it probably shouldn't be shot down. It's just the perception of an individual player. Yeah,
and that's why I like to use both, and that's one reason. That one trade we were looking at with going after A-Chain, I'm like, if you just wait like 2-3 days, I mean, A-Chain on KeepTradeCut, and be like, oh, look, on KeepTradeCut, blah, blah, but like his vibes are going to be lower because we're talking about it now. Like, we're all like, I don't know, A-Chain isn't like as locked into that kind of QB4, QB5 range as we thought.
All right, this will be a great chat message to end the stream on. A quick question regarding the QB market in my league. Would it be a bad idea to flip the settings from single quarterback to Superflex, giving all the teams a 3 to 5 season window, or am I just being salty? I can't trade my QBs. I think it's a bad idea to enforce this off the bat. Now, I do think that is a fair recommendation. If this is like a home league and like you guys have been in this for, a handful of years, I think the window you talk about is a pretty wide range window. Like usually when I see people talk about it, it's like 2 to 3 years they do when it's like voted on.
At most. Yeah.
But obviously, I think it 100% would need to be a vote. And before the vote, it would need to be would you guys be interested in even voting on this? Because anytime like rule changes happen, I don't like doing a vote on a rule change off the bat. I think there needs to be a like general consensus of like, yeah, let's see if people are interested in this. Just because obviously I'm a pretty hard stickler of when I drafted this team, when I made trades, this is the guidelines I was set with and how I wanted to roster construct around that. And I'm such a nerd about that and how I want to build out my teams that anything that like changes that from the outside of just the variance of dynasty football, if it's the, somebody changing a rule or something, shout out to my home league commissioner. I always fight with him on this.
I bet he loves that.
He's a good guy. He just changed interceptions from -1 to -2 after I took Josh Allen, who's been better with interceptions. So I think karma came back to support me. But yeah, that was it always has to come back to one of Will's leagues. Sounds good. I'll ask her on my league.
Yeah, I mean, I think I would put it up to a vote. I've done it before where it's like, hey, I played in a league. I was like, this sucks. It's one quarterback. It's basically just who has the best running backs and wide receivers.
Yeah.
Like, let's make it more interesting. And people voted on it. We're like sick, and we did 2 years out. So it's like, okay, like 2 years out, like just slowly start. Maybe instead of cutting that one extra quarterback, you just hold on to him a little bit longer, and eventually, it'll work out. It does make the rookie drafts in between kind of interesting though.
Yeah.
Because then you have like a half super flex value of like if you're a rebuilding team, you might take the quarterback a little bit higher.
And
because
even
you're like I mean, like I took Jaden Daniels higher than expected in that league.
Oh yeah.
And it was like, well, like it's still single quarterback, but next year he'll be double quarterback. And I'm like, well, like my team sucks. So
Yeah.
I'm just going to stash the rookie and then hope that he turns into something. And he turned into, obviously a pretty solid quarterback. So,
yeah.
It doesn't always work out, but I think it's kind of a fun, weird value perspective of, okay, not this year, but next year we have Superflex. How do you value rookies? It kind of changes some of those types of moves if you kind of know how the league will evolve in upcoming years. And I think that's part of the reason, like, I think for home leagues, it makes it fun.
Yeah.
Like I have a home league. We're constantly tweaking different rules. Cause then it doesn't become like a formula. Some people just get in a formula way. And it's like, oh, well, like now this is going to change in 2 years. So then you're like, okay, well, I need to start getting ahead of it in certain ways. So I think it can kind of keep the league fresh if it's a home league. If it's a bunch of randos, and no offense to randos, but like online people that you're not like bros with, then it becomes a little bit of like, I don't know. Like I don't want rules to be changing. That's
some people are going to be screwed naturally with a change.
Yeah,
but I think if you are presenting it that way,
when it's a home league, you have that.
Yeah. But I think if you are presenting it that way, and this is you're in the stream right now supporting the channel, hopefully a subscriber, hopefully in the Discord, and hopefully in the March Madness bracket. I'm going to click over to that at the outro for a second. If you guys aren't in that pool, games start Thursday. So get those brackets made, get in the pool. But there are going to be some teams that look at your QB room when you present this and go, this jackass. And then look at their own team and go, I have one quarterback. You're screwing me. F you. But I think you can present it in a way like Jeremy had talked about where, how you approach certain things changes. Rookie drafts, and then also like trades. If you're a rebuilding team, you're much more inclined to feel good about trading for a quarterback that a contending team is going to care slightly less about for the next 2 to 3 seasons, if that's the window, when, they're a team that, needs the running back production or needs the wide receiver production. I'll be joining the bracket. Let's go. Yo, what's up, Subtitle Chip? We're hitting the outro, but I'm happy you're here. Ooh, March Madness bracketology stream. I promise you do not want that. It will make your bracket worse. I'm going to speak for myself, Jeremy. I don't know. Are you, do you feel confident in your March Madness abilities?
I've listened to like 3 YouTube videos. So I followed I it's always like a after football, then I'm like, okay, I start getting into college basketball. Like I
Mhm.
watch some of the college the conference tournaments
Yeah.
and stuff. So I know a little bit. I follow NC State, which we're about to lose. So my bracket's about to bust. Um so could be better, but it is what it is. Expectations were low, but I do love March Man. I will say, I say it all the time. I'm a big football guy. NFL, college football. Nothing's better than
Yeah.
Thursday, Friday. It is like it's TikTok before TikTok was a thing of like a game ends every 10 minutes. And it's
Oh,
just
it's
like, oh,
beautiful.
like I'm bored of this game, swipe up, and it's like, oh, here's another game that's about to end.
Mhm.
Like it's just nonstop. Like, oh, like let me double check my bracket. How are things working out? It's
It's
it's just
beautiful.
nonstop sports goodness.
I'm happy we got to bring it to and Joe, I see the message. I'm not hitting the outro here. I just want to shout and call this out one more time. If you guys have not done it, link is in the description. If you're not in the Discord, join it. There is a March Madness channel that has a link to join the free bracket pool. If you win this pool, you will have your first 3 years of the buy-in for a community dynasty league startup that we will be drafting this offseason paid for. $60 technically, almost a $500 value if you win all 3 years that are paid for. But yeah, this is wait, I've got 2
And one, baby, and one.
It's okay.
Let's
Jeremy's got
go.
the Wolfpack game pulled up.
I looked at the score, and then all of a sudden I saw that we got a 3-point, cut it to 2 points, and then I pulled up the game, and he
Okay.
was fouled corner 3, so he gets an extra shot with a minute left.
Oh, let's go.
It's
62
March, baby.
64. Oh, dang, I didn't even know they're playing Texas. I've not been following the play-ins. All right, Cook in the 107 for the 105 and a mid 27 first, not mine. My team is pretty good already. One last year, Bijan, Gibbs, Achan, then Jefferson, Amon-Ra, Ladd is a tet. Ooh.
I kind of like that, to be honest. I think
With the
like
team,
a
I like
mid
it.
first, you got a solid team. You add Cook to that. You get the 107. You're still going to have some flexibility there. You can probably try to leverage that into getting another 27 first if you want, or just make the pick, which would probably be like the most exciting player that falls outside of the top consensus 6.
Dang. Just the so you like the Cook 107 side?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty close. I like that I like that side on paper, and then I look at this team and I'm like, man, Bijan, Gibbs, Achan. I'd really be curious how many starters. Like if it's Bijan, Gibbs, Achan, and then Jefferson, Amon-Ra, Ladd, Zay, Seth McMillan. I feel like I'd look at this roster and talk about your team is so nasty. How can we move to, one of these
2027. How do we
to
get our
get a
picks back?
27 first to get let me know, Joe, what the format is. How many starters? Like if this is a 12 by 9 or 12 by 10,
Start 10, super flex, tight end premium. You might just have a wagon and you just kind of go with it.
yeah. I mean, if you're okay, if you're able to start Bijan, Gibbs, Achan, and Cook, and then play Jefferson, Amon-Ra, and then your favorite of, yeah,
I think you just get James Cook. Like it's hard to say James Cook in
James
that
Cook's
format
awesome.
isn't just worth it.
Just got the extension. Yeah, I'm cool with it. And two,
I'll
like
say
you have flexibility to sell too.
Settle Chip mentioned. He said, "I've been killing it on all fronts. Thank you. Constantly grinding.
Of course.
What's my preferred way of using? I like the desktop the most just because big screen. It's nice to just see everything. But the mobile's improved a lot recently, and I end up using mobile a lot just because I'm sitting on the couch or whatever. So I'm trying to make both experiences the best I can.
All right. always 2 sets of Dynasty to balance leagues, and then whatever this monstrosity is. True. All right. Appreciate you all. Join the Discord, link in the description if you're not in there. Get in the March Madness pool. When I win it, I will be taking the prize. So second place, don't be like, oh, it's Will, he won. I get the he's not gonna. No, I will be taking it. Jeremy will be paying for my first 3 years. So be ready. And vice versa.
Yeah, you got to join and beat Will.
Through.
You got to join and beat Will.
Yeah, Jeremy's counting on it so that we can split the $30 each instead of one of us taking on the 60. Thanks for a great stream, guys. Hey, appreciate you all. Yeah, I say it every time.
Appreciate you joining.
But I truly mean it. You guys being in here makes it much more enjoyable, not just for you guys and better for you guys.
I don't know if I'm doing that.
Yeah, I saw that. But for us as well. Jeremy's sweating watching this NC State game. We'll let him finish it here.
That was just a filthy mid-range. I did not need that. Let's go.
You guys and Scott. Dang. You guys and Scott Connor goated. First ever Dynasty I listened to. HQ. Shout out to Shane. I don't know if you're ever a HQ guy.
Dynasty HQ was good back in the day. Yeah.
That was great. All right. Appreciate you all. Have a great week. See you in the Discord. I've been a lot more active in there, man. I'm feeling it. I'll be in there, but I'll also be winning the March Madness
I'll be in there
bracket.
too.
Peace out. Oh, also shout out to Jeremy and the news channel. Huge. If you guys, those are sick. I like following those, and then we get a little chat about them, in the Discord.
Yeah, I think it helps with the engagement. People want to talk. It's easier to be like, oh, this happened.
Heck yeah. All right. Appreciate you all. Peace out. Boom.